Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by jawheadnaniwick on Wattpad. Now let's start. In a world where extraordinary powers known as quirks were the norm, 80% of the population possessed incredible abilities, leaving the remaining 20% without such gifts. It was in this world that the tale of a remarkable boy's journey began. Within the warm embrace of a cozy hospital room, excitement filled the air as a woman prepared to bring new life into the world. The father, 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, anxiously awaited the arrival of his child. The nurse reassured him, but he couldn't shake his worry. In the presence of the doctor, joy erupted as he announced the birth of a baby boy. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 held his son with awe in his eyes, already envisioning a bright future for him. 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, the mother, awoke and extended her arms, overwhelmed with love for her newborn son. As she looked into his eyes, she noticed something peculiar. They were a mesmerizing shade of blue, like the sparkling view of the sky. His eyes held an unparalleled beauty that seemed to defy the world's ordinary expectations. As time passed, Izuku, the young boy, grew curious and lively. However, unlike his peers, he had yet to manifest any quirk of his own. At the age of 4, everyone around him had already discovered their unique abilities, leaving him feeling a little left behind. Concerned for her son, 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 decided to seek the advice of a quirk doctor. In the doctor's office, 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 watched intently as the doctor used his quirk on Izuku. After a moment of observation, the doctor turned to her with intriguing news. He explained that Izuku possessed an unusual quirk, the ability to control his own mass. He could change his weight without altering his shape, allowing him to be as heavy or light as he desired. 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫's heart swelled with love for her son, quirks aside. Despite the initial worry and questions about his abilities, she cherished him just the same. Izuku's journey had only just begun, and with a mother's love and support, he was destined for greatness. As the world of quirks continued to unfold around him, Izuku's path was set to be one of courage, determination, and a determination to become the hero he aspired to be. In a world where extraordinary abilities known as quirks were the norm, two childhood friends, Izuku and 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, found themselves on divergent paths. 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, who had recently acquired his own quirk, couldn't resist the temptation to taunt Izuku about his still undiscovered power. One day, 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 seized the opportunity to mock his friend over his lack of a quirk. "Izuku," 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 jeered, "what is your quirk?" Izuku replied, his voice tinged with a mix of pride and vulnerability. "The doctor said that my quirk allows me to change my mass, making me heavy or light." 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻's laughter reverberated through the air like a harsh echo. "Ha, that's a useless quirk." Feeling the weight of 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻's scorn, Izuku bristled, determined to defend his unique ability. "No, it is not," he retorted. 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, undeterred, persisted in his attempt to belittle Izuku's quirk. "Yes, it is." Their argument spiraled into a heated exchange, with Izuku desperately trying to prove his worth while 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 dismissed him with cruel laughter. Tears welled up in Izuku's eyes, but he refused to let them fall. The tension between the two friends reached its breaking point, and 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 decided to escalate matters with a physical attack. Fear gnawed at Izuku's heart as he closed his eyes tightly, repeating to himself, "I don't want to be hurt." The clash of their paths, one brimming with power and the other with hidden potential, had ignited a confrontation that would set the course for their futures in a world where quirks defined destinies. But something incredible happened. As 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻 lunged at Izuku, he passed right through him, much to his surprise. He attempted to grab Izuku repeatedly, but each time, his hands met empty air. 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻. Izuku's newfound ability perplexed 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐻, who eventually gave up his futile assault. Upon returning home, Izuku faced yet another bewildering experience as he walked right through his own front door. His mother, 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, witnessed this phenomenon in shock. 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 exclaimed in shock, "Izuku, how did you pass through the door? I thought the doctor said your quirk was to control mass." With tears in his eyes, Izuku recounted Bakugo's attack, and 𝐻𝐮𝐭 was both angered by the aggression and relieved that her son was unharmed. 𝐻𝐻𝐭 wasted no time and took Izuku back to the quirk doctor, hoping to find answers and a way to reverse the strange state he was in. The doctor was intrigued but initially saw no problem. However, after attempting to touch Izuku and failing, he finally grasped the gravity of the situation. Doc said, "I think your son made his mass 0. 𝐻𝐻𝐭 sought a clear explanation, which prompted the doctor to delve into the intricacies of mass and its connection to existence. The doctor theorized that Izuku's peculiar state might be a result of subconscious fear during Bakugo's attack, causing him to disappear temporarily. He advised Izuku to relax and ease his mind to return to his normal state. As time passed, Izuku found himself under a bridge, facing the slime villain. The villain aimed to make Izuku his hostage, but to his surprise, Izuku couldn't help but burst into laughter. Izuku said with amusement, "What's truly amusing is you attempting to take me hostage." The bewildered villain couldn't fathom the situation, and as he tried to capture Izuku, he found himself passing right through him. Just when the slime villain was left in bafflement, a familiar, booming voice echoed, "Fear not, for I am here." All Might, the symbol of peace, materialized before the astonished villain. All Might's arrival inspired awe and fear in equal measure, and he swiftly dealt with the slime villain. Izuku stood still, unperturbed by the events unfolding around him. As the dust settled, Izuku's world began to change. Embracing his unique quirk and newfound invulnerability, he discovered a newfound confidence. Izuku's path had ignited, and he was ready to embark on a journey toward becoming the hero he had always dreamed of becoming. By the way, in this fanfic, Deku is arrogant for now, but in the official start he will be prideful but not arrogant, but he is also lazy. If you have something that you absolute have to do, then he will do it, but if it not, he will not put any effort in that. He became like this after he got his quirk because he was invincible. Nobody could hit him, nobody could do anything to him. Standing in front of the gates of UA, I take a moment to observe the grandeur of Japan's most prestigious school. This is us, the most prestigious school of Japan. Let's see how this goes, I mutter to myself with a mix of excitement and nervousness. As I enter the school, I find myself in a room filled with other applicants, listening as Mike explains everything. In the observation stands, Ida voices his dissatisfaction. "Sir, this is unacceptable for UA to forget to mention the fourth robot," he protests. "Ah yes, kiddo. That's the 0-pointer. It's there to add an extra challenge to your path," Mike responds. "Thank you for clarifying, sir," Ida acknowledges. After completing the written exam, I move on to the practical test. The written exam was a bit challenging, not too easy or too hard. Now, let's see what UA's physical exam has in store. "I hope it can push me to use my full strength," I say with a smirk as I approach the gate. As the gate opens, Mike urges us to start. Everyone rushes in, and I join the fray. I increase my mass, using the equation force mass times acceleration to my advantage. With this power, even my slightest movements pack the punch of a heavyweight boxer. I easily take down the robot, smirking at the lack of challenge. "This is easy. They aren't even a challenge." "Yui is a disappointment," I comment. In the observation room, Midnight points out my fighting style. "Hey, look at this boy. He fights like you did, All Might," she remarks. All Might glances at the monitor. "Yeah, he has a physical type quirk, so it's natural he'd fight like me," he responds. Aizawa directs their attention to something unusual. On the monitor, the robot phases through me. "Let's check his quirk information," Aizawa suggests, picking up a paper with my details. The word non-existent catches their attention. Non-existent? What does that even mean? Aizawa questions. All Might shares his doubts. "Are you sure there wasn't a mistake in the printing?" "No, there wasn't," Nizu confirms confidently, diverting the focus away from me. He presses a button to continue the test. Back on the exam site, the ground trembles as the 0-pointer emerges. "Let's have some fun," I grin, approaching it. Adjusting my mass, I strengthen my body's density, safeguarding against harm. As I land strikes, my fortified body remains unscathed. Increasing my mass, I notice small objects heading my way. As the 0-pointer teeters, I target its leg, destabilizing it. The robot falls and I strike its vulnerable neck area, obliterating it. Another letdown, I sigh. The 0-pointer didn't live up to the hype. Still, UA is the best hero academy. Despite the disappointments, I have to join. It's still better than other schools. I mutter as I walk away, my determination unshaken, eager to pursue my hero aspirations. Later that day in the Midoriya household, I return home, greeted by my mother Inko's eager question, "Izuku, how did the exam go?" "You know me, there's nothing that can harm me." Thanks to my ability to manipulate mass and become heavy, the robot didn't stand a chance. I ended up destroying it, I say, sinking into the couch to unwind. "If you say so, dear." "Mom, could you make something to eat?" "I'm pretty hungry," I ask with a smile. "Sure thing." A week later, my mom excitedly calls, "Izuku, your letter's here." Bursting with confidence, I respond, "Mom, they're bound to accept me after witnessing my fight." Taking the letter, I retreat to my room to read it. All Might's words greet me, "Young Midoriya, you've scored a remarkable total of 100 villain points. I formally welcome you to your hero academia." "Of course you'd accept me, All Might. After all, I'm the future #1, I proudly declare." On the first day of school, standing before the massive UA door, I ponder aloud, "You really went all out with this giant door. Makes me wonder if someone with a giant quirk could be here." As I enter, the sounds of Bakugo and a blue-haired boy arguing greet my ears. I'm barely inside when Bakugo's gaze zeroes in on me, silencing him and the blue-haired boy. Ignoring Bakugo, I walk past him and take a seat beside Momo. "Hey, I'm Izuku Midoriya. And you're quite stunning," I say playfully. Momo blushes, stammering, "I'm Momo Yaoyorozu. Nice to meet you, Midoriya." "Just call me Izuku, and can I call you Momo?" I ask with youthful enthusiasm. Caught off guard, Momo manages to say, "Oh, okay." "Ah, all right, Momo it is," I laugh. Before Momo can reply, the door swings open, revealing a yellow sleeping bag-like entity. "It took you guys 5 minutes to stop talking. I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher." Aizawa-sensei instructed everyone to put on their gym clothes and head to the training ground. Once we were at the training ground, he informed everyone, "We're going to do a quirk assessment test." "What? A quirk assessment test?" we all exclaimed. "But the orientation. We're going to miss it," someone protested. If you truly want to succeed in the hero world, you can't waste time on unnecessary ceremonies. Here at UA, we don't cling to traditions. This means I have the freedom to conduct my class as I see fit. You've spent most of your lives taking standardized tests. However, you've never had the chance to use your quirks in physical exams before. The country still tries to maintain the illusion of equality by suppressing those with the most powerful quirks. It's irrational. Someday, the Ministry of Education will come to understand, Aizawa-sensei explained between breaths. This sounds like fun. This is what I've been talking about, using our quirks to the fullest. Someone in the group exclaimed. So you find this exciting? You have 3 years to become heroes here. Do you think it's all going to be fun and games? You're mistaken. Today, you'll participate in 8 physical tests to measure your potential. The person who comes in last shows they have none and will be expelled immediately, Aizawa-sensei stated with annoyance. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 echoed the collective exclamation. Like I said, I have the authority to shape the course of this class. Aizawa-sensei asked. You can't just send one of us home. I mean, we just arrived. Even if it wasn't the first day, it wouldn't be fair, Mina argued. And do you think natural disasters are fair? Or power-hungry villains? Or catastrophic accidents that decimate entire cities? No, the world is brimming with unfairness. It's a hero's duty to confront that injustice. If you aspire to be a pro, you'll need to push yourself to your limits. Over the next 3 years, UA will throw countless challenges your way. So go beyond the plus ultra way. Demonstrate that it's no accident that you're here, Aizawa-sensei emphasized. We are going to focus on Deku only. Okay, the speed test was underway. This is a 50-meter dash test, 𝐿𝐮𝐬𝐻 announced. Deku stepped forward, ready for his turn. As he prepared himself, he thought, since this is a simple dash race, I should be able to handle it. Hopefully, it doesn't involve any complicated maneuvers. He focused, increasing his mass to build up momentum. With a burst of energy, he sprinted forward. However, as he reached the midpoint, he noticed his speed decreasing. Determined, he came to a stop and then dashed forward again, managing to complete the dash in just 5 seconds. Wow, Deku thought, my quirk is truly incredible, but it lacks speed. Being as heavy as a building definitely has its drawbacks. I need to work on improving that aspect. He walked away from the testing area, his mind already strategizing about how to address this weakness. Moving on to the great strength test, Deku faced the challenge head-on. Increasing his mass once more, he pulled his hand back, channeling a tremendous amount of force into the machine before him. The machine strained against the pressure, and with a sharp sound, it finally broke, succumbing to Deku's enhanced strength. Deku couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment, but he also recognized the areas where he needed improvement. He was determined to harness his quirk's potential to the fullest and become the hero he aspired to be. Time skip to the last test. Everybody has done their test. Deku is the last one to do. This is going to be easy. I just need to throw, Deku thought as he approached the task with a sense of calm. As he executed the throw, the ball left his hand and traveled only 10 meters away. What? Deku exclaimed, his surprise evident. Midoriya, you need to put your full strength into this, no relaxing. If it's easy for you, then treat it seriously, otherwise you might as well consider yourself expelled. Aizawa's voice carried a stern warning as he fixed his gaze on Deku. Yes, Deku responded with a hint of annoyance in his thoughts. What a bother. Taking a deep breath, Deku adopted a throwing stance. He pondered, I've never pushed my mass beyond that of a mountain. Let's see what happens when I exceed that limit. Focusing his power, he increased his mass significantly before hurling the ball. The ball soared through the air, creating a sonic boom in its wake before making a distant landing. 1369 meters, Aizawa's surprise was palpable as he announced the impressive score. As the rankings were revealed, Aizawa continued, so the rankings are as follows. Momo Yaoyorozu Izuku Midoriya Shoto Todoroki Katsuki Bakugo. Achiko Uraraka. Fumikage Tokoyami / Dark Shadow Hantashiro. Toru Hagakure Minoru Mineta. I was lying about sending anyone home. It was a calculated deception to ensure all of you gave your best effort in the tests, unlike someone who decided otherwise. Aizawa's glare directed at Deku was sharp. Deku managed to navigate through his first day of school and soon settled into the regular routine of classes and training at U. In their initial class with All Might. I'm surprised the rest of you didn't realize that. I apologize. I suppose I should have communicated it more clearly, Momo mumbled, averting her gaze. Jiro, Mineta, Kaminari, yeah, you definitely should have. That was quite the nerve-wracking moment, huh? Nah, I'm always up for a challenge. With that, the day's activities concluded. Aizawa rolled away, delivering the final instruction. That's it for today. Grab a syllabus from the classroom and review it before tomorrow morning. 𝐻𝐻, as you all know, Deku's quirk allows him to be non-existent, but will Aizawa's quirk work on Deku as he is non-existent because of his quirk, and Aizawa his using his quirk on him, or Aizawa's quirk don't work? Why? Write down you and in the comment. Okay guys, after class during the break, the students gathered together to get to know each other better. Now, let's introduce ourselves, Mina suggested with a cheerful smile. I'm Mina Ishido, and my quirk is acid, she introduced herself, setting the tone for the others. One by one, the students took their turns. I'm Tenya Ida, and my quirk is engine. I'm Achiko Uraraka, and my quirk is gravity. I'm Kyoka Jiro, and my quirk is earphone jack. The introductions continued down the line until it was Momo Yaoyorozu's turn. I'm Momo Yaoyorozu, and my quirk is creation. As the introductions went on, Deku's turn eventually came. I'm Izuku Midoriya, and my quirk is non-existent, he said, causing a collective gasp of surprise from everyone. What? The incredulous expressions on their faces mirrored their shock. What does non-existent even mean? Momo voiced the confusion that everyone felt. I mean literally non-existent, Deku clarified, observing the puzzled look on Momo's face. Deku gestured for Momo to come closer, saying, "Oh, come here." She complied, standing beside him. "Now touch me," Deku instructed. Momo reached out her hand to touch Deku, but her hand passed right through him. "You see, my quirk allows me to change my mass freely. So when I make my mass 0, you become non-existent. Anything that exists needs mass to occupy space, but if you don't have any mass, you don't exist in the universe. According to the laws of existence, you don't exist," Momo interrupted, grasping the concept. Deku continued, "And that's exactly my quirk. I can change my mass, but my shape and size remain the same." Momo's analytical mind went to work. "So, the state you're in is like projecting your consciousness into reality, like a hologram." Right? I hadn't really thought about it that way. I just knew my quirk did this and I left it at that. But Momo, you could be my support, giving me ideas for my quirk, considering it deals with science and studying, which isn't exactly my strong suit. "Okay, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴, I'll do that," Momo agreed, her cheeks tinged with a blush. "Oh, already on a first-name basis, huh?" Mina playfully teased. "Hero basic training," a familiar voice echoed through the room. "I am here," someone declared, punctuating their statement as All Might burst through the door with an exuberant entrance. "Coming through the door like a hero," he boomed, his voice resonating with a commanding presence. The students collectively gasped, their faces lighting up with awe and admiration as the legendary figure stood before them. "I can't believe it's really All Might," one of the students exclaimed in disbelief, capturing the sentiments of everyone in the room. "So he's a teacher. This year is going to be totally awesome." A voice chimed from the back of the classroom, while another boy nearby whispered in excitement, "Hey, look. Is he wearing his Silver Age costume? I'm getting goosebumps. It's so retro." Amid the hushed excitement, All Might addressed the class with his signature charisma. "Welcome to the most important class at UA High. Think of it as Year 101, he announced, his words carrying a weight of authority. "Here, you will learn the basics of being a pro, and what it means to fight in the name of good." With an air of determination, he continued, "Let's get into it. Today's lesson will pull no punches. Fight training. Real combat. But one of the keys of being a hero is looking good." He gestured toward the unique outfits displayed before the students. "These were designed for you based on your quirk registration forms and the requests you sent in before school started. All right, everyone. Get yourselves suited up, and then meet me at Training Ground Beta." All Might's words were met with a unanimous chorus of affirmation. "Yes, sir." The students responded in unison, their enthusiasm palpable. "They say that clothes make the pros, young ladies and gentlemen, and behold, you are the proof." All Might's voice swelled with pride as he continued, "Take this to heart. From now on you are all heroes in training." His words resonated deeply, solidifying the sense of purpose that had infused the room. As the students hurried to prepare for the training ahead, All Might's thoughts remained internal. "This is getting me all revved up," he muttered to himself, his anticipation evident. "Training Ground Beta, this is his hero costume. This but with white hair and blue eyes like this. Hey, Izuku." I heard someone call out, and I turned around to see Momo approaching. "Momo," I said with a smile, feeling a little flustered by her presence. A faint blush colored Momo's cheeks as she looked at me. But as soon as I caught sight of her costume, my own face turned beet red, and I quickly averted my gaze. It was hard not to, considering that her outfit left little to the imagination. "Love your costume. Is this your costume?" Momo asked, her tone slightly confused. "Yeah," I replied, still avoiding looking directly at her. The situation was so embarrassing, and I wished I could just disappear. "Hey, are you gonna turn your head or not?" Momo's voice took on a hint of offense, her frustration evident. I sighed, a mix of irritation and awkwardness bubbling up. "If I turned, I'm gonna see it, okay? You should have chosen a better costume. This shows too much, and I have the decency to not look. But you want me to turn and look, huh?" My words came out sharper than I had intended, frustration getting the better of me. I was angry not at her, but at the awkwardness of the situation. Momo's expression softened, and she lowered her gaze. Sorry. I have to dress like this if I want to use my quirk in fighting, she explained apologetically. I'll think of some other costume. You're right, I shouldn't wear this. I instantly felt a pang of guilt. Momo wasn't being unreasonable, she was just making the best choice for her abilities. I hadn't meant to make her feel bad about it. No, Momo, I'm sorry, I said, my tone gentler now. I didn't mean to sound upset. It's just a little awkward for me. She looked up at me, her eyes still slightly downcast. You would do that? Thank you, she said softly, her gratitude apparent. Yeah, I replied, finally looking at her, though I still felt a hint of awkwardness. I want to support you as a friend. Let's figure something out. Momo's smile returned, and the tension in the air seemed to dissipate. I appreciate it, Izuku. You're a true friend. Now that you're ready, it's time for combat training, All Might announced, his voice carrying its customary air of authority. Sir, this is the fake city from our entrance exam. Does that mean that we'll be conducting urban battles again? Ida inquired, his curiosity evident. Not quite. I'm going to move you 2 steps ahead. Most of the villain fights you see on the news take place outside. However, statistically speaking, run-ins with the most dastardly evildoers take place indoors, All Might explained, his tone both instructive and engaging. Think about it. Backroom deals, home invasions, secret underground lairs. Truly intelligent criminals stay hidden in the shadows. For this training exercise, you'll be split into teams of good guys and bad guys and fight 2-on-2 indoor battles. All Might elaborated, the strategic nature of the exercise apparent. Isn't this a little advanced? The best training is what you get on the battlefield. But remember, you can't just punch a robot this time. You're dealing with actual people now. Sir, will you be the one deciding who wins? Uraraka inquired, seeking clarification. Do we need to worry about the losers getting expelled like earlier? Someone piped up, voicing a concern that had likely been circulating in others' minds. Will you be splitting us up based on chance or comparative skill? Isn't this 𝐀𝐮𝐽𝐴 chic? Ida questioned, showcasing his signature hand gestures. All Might growled in response. I wasn't finished talking. He asserted, bringing the students' attention back to his instructions. Listen up. A script. Momo's inquiry hung in the air, a hint of curiosity lacing her words. The situation is this. The villains have hidden a nuclear missile somewhere in their hideout. The heroes must try to foil their plans. To do that, the good guys either have to catch the evildoers or recover the weapon. Likewise, the bad guys succeed if they protect their payload or capture the heroes. All Might detailed, outlining the challenge at hand. Deku chimed in, offering his perspective. Sounds like a classic action movie setup. Time's limited, and we'll choose teams by drawing lots. All Might announced, the anticipation in the room palpable. Isn't there a better way, sir? Ida interjected, his concern for fairness coming through in his query. Think about it. Pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot, so maybe that's the reason we're seeing that here, someone else pointed out, saving All Might from having to explain further. Right, this is why we are doing it, All Might agreed, a hint of relief in his tone. He muttered under his breath, oh, he saved me there. Yes, I see. Life is a random series of events. Excuse my rudeness. No sweat, Ida conceded, accepting the rationale behind the method. Let's draw. All Might declared, igniting a sense of excitement. Wow, what are the chances? We're a team. Momo exclaimed, her joy evident. What are the chances? Sweet, Deku added, his grin reflecting the positive outcome. I declare that the first teams to fight will be these guys. Team A will be the heroes, Team D will be the villains. Everyone else can head to the monitoring room to watch. All Might announced, his voice carrying a sense of finality. Yes, sir. The students replied in unison, their energy clearly building. Bad guys, you can go on in and get set up. In 5 minutes, the good guys will be let loose and the battle will start. All Might instructed, The countdown to action commencing. Yes, sir. Both teams responded promptly, their determination visible. Young XXXX. Young XXXXX. The key to being successful in this challenge is to embody villainy. Think from the perspective of an evildoer, All Might advised. Got it. The individuals addressed responded in unison. If things go too far, I'll step in, All Might reassured, emphasizing his role as the overseer. Understood. The students acknowledged, their readiness evident in their voices. Hey, who's 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 talking to? I'm not hearing anything. Can we get any sound with this video? Kirishima voiced his confusion, glancing around as if expecting an answer from the environment itself. All Might turned his attention towards Kirishima and provided an explanation. He's got a radio in his ear so he can talk to his partner. I gave it to him before the match started. Along with a map of the building, All Might clarified, shedding light on 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's means of communication. Also this. All Might's voice broke the silence after a momentary pause. A roll of capture tape. Wrapping this around your opponent means you've apprehended them, and they're out for the rest of the game. His words carried an air of authority as he revealed another key element of the training exercise. Among the gathered students, Ashido chimed in with a question, her curiosity evident. So, there's a 15-minute time limit, and the good guys have no idea what floor the nuclear weapon is hidden on, right? Correct. All Might confirmed, his response concise. Then the heroes are clearly at a disadvantage here. A big one. Real pros have to outwit villains on a daily basis. That's life. Even when the odds aren't in our favor, we fight. All Might's words carried a powerful resonance, causing a collective gasp of realization from the students. In their minds, they processed the truth in his words. The essence of being a hero was to persevere even when facing overwhelming challenges. The concept of fighting for the greater good, regardless of the odds, ignited a palpable excitement among them. As the students absorbed the wisdom imparted by All Might, they embraced the forthcoming battle with renewed determination. The room was charged with anticipation and an eagerness to prove themselves in the face of adversity. Katsuki's voice cut through the air, drawing my attention. Hey, Four Eyes, he called out to Ida, who turned his gaze towards 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿. Yes, Katsuki, Ida replied, his response respectful but cautious. It was clear that 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's brash demeanor didn't sit well with Ida, yet he was willing to engage in conversation. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's expression tightened, a mixture of reluctance and determination. He knew what he was about to share wasn't easy for him to admit. Izuku is strong, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 began, his tone slightly begrudging. He's the only one that has beat me in fighting ever since we were young. No one has been able to beat me except Izuku. And you saw what he can do in the test, didn't you? Ida's thoughtful expression mirrored my own curiosity as he nodded in acknowledgement. So, what is his quirk? Ida inquired, his curiosity leading the conversation into new territory. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 emitted a gruff sound before responding, It's very simple, you know mass, right? Ida nodded once again, prompting 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 to continue. You see, he can change it in any way he wants. Not change shape, but increase or decrease his mass. It's a very simple quirk. It doesn't seem that powerful, Ida mused aloud, his voice carrying a hint of skepticism. He was hearkening back to our experiences in the entrance exam, where Izuku's quirk had managed to impress despite its apparent simplicity. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's grunting response hinted at his growing impatience, but he carried on, explaining the intricacies of Izuku's ability. Yes, you know, but his quirk defies physics. You know when someone has less mass, they decrease in size. But his quirk makes it that he stays the same size so he can be light as a feather 1 second and heavy as a mountain the next. You haven't seen him fight, but I have. I have fought him countless times and lost. As 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's words lingered in the air, his conviction palpable, Ida waited for the simmering tension to subside. Yes, you are the expert in this, as you have battled him before. So, what should we do? Ida's question was pragmatic, seeking 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's insight. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's pause was telling, a sign that he was calculating his response. I know Izuku. He's going to go straight to the top, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 began, outlining his plan. So, I say we hide it on the ground floor. You stay guard and hide with it while I will come from above, making it seem like the bomb is at the top. In reality, it's in the bottom. I don't know about the other girl, but he will definitely go to the top. And to make sure the other girl doesn't suspect us, I will go and pretend to be captured. When I go silent after I say my location, you come and free me. Ida's contemplative expression shifted into one of agreement. It's a great plan. Let's do that. His decisive response solidified our course of action, and we prepared to execute 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿's strategic maneuver, all while keeping an eye on the larger training exercise at hand. In this one, Izuku is not the one that suppressed 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 is, and so the role our reversed 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 is the one that thinks outside the box, while Izuku is like 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 in this, as he has excellent 𝐴𝑇𝑙 but not over-the-top planning like in the anime. Now with Izuku, hey Momo, do you have any plans? I asked Momo, a touch of urgency in my voice. Momo's eyes held a focused intensity as she responded, yes, so it's like this. We'll head to the building and most likely they've put it on the top floor to hinder us. But Katsuki is the one who's our opponent, I interjected, my mind racing as I considered our options. He always thinks outside the box. He's taken me by surprise many times. If I didn't have the non-existent state, I would have been defeated multiple times already. Momo's gaze remained fixed on me as she nodded in understanding. After a brief moment of thoughtful silence, she spoke up again. Okay, let's see. Since you can go into a non-existent state, that means you can become light. Right? That's right, I confirmed, my mind churning with possibilities. Here's the plan then. I'll throw you to the top of the building and from there, you'll descend and search, Momo suggested, her strategy taking shape after careful consideration. Okay, let's go, I replied, determination coloring my words. What 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 didn't expect was that Izuku saw him as his rival. He had never underestimated him, recognizing that he was the only one with even a slight chance of defeating me. This fact was not lost on 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿. He knew the significance of our dynamic. He would call him Deku, a name that held a tinge of bitterness, a constant reminder of their shared history and his own discontent. Oh, and for a little bit of background spice, Izuku is not that good as in anime as he was more focused on his strength, so 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 helps him study, saying that his mom forced him to. He just doesn't want to see his rival plummet in study, as it will be disappointing. I found myself standing a few steps back as Momo took a step forward and began to undo her clothing. My face turned beet red as I quickly averted my gaze, my heart pounding loudly in my chest. It wasn't every day you found yourself in such an unexpected situation. Izuku, can you shrink down to about 10 grams? Momo's voice pulled me back to reality, and I nodded, trying to act as normal as possible. I concentrated, focusing on reducing my size as she had asked. Once I had achieved the desired weight, Momo loaded me into what looked like a massive slingshot. All right, I stammered, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. With a sudden release, I was catapulted upward, the wind whistling past me as the ground rushed away. The world around me turned into a blur of colors and sensations until I finally landed with a light thud on the top of the building. I had to admit that was quite the ride. As I tried to catch my breath, I saw Momo stepping into the building not too far away, making her way through the entrance. It seemed she had her own plans in motion. My attention was quickly diverted as I spotted Ida hiding in a corner nearby. His usually composed demeanor seemed to be replaced by a sense of unease. Meanwhile, down on the floor, 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 was making his way down the stairs, his expression determined. My heart raced as I watched 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿's eyes lock onto Momo, who was positioned on the second floor. He muttered something under his breath, his tone low and intense. The tension in the air grew palpable as the two of them exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. Suddenly, without warning, the air erupted with explosive sounds and flashing lights as 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿 launched an attack. Momo, however, was prepared, her quick reflexes allowing her to dodge and counter with her own techniques. The clash of their powers echoed through the building as the battle unfolded. Despite 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿's outward confidence, it became clear that things weren't as one-sided as they appeared. His explosions were met with Momo's resourcefulness and strategic thinking, causing the fight to reach a stalemate of sorts. The sweat on 𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐿's brow and the intensity in his eyes betrayed the effort he was exerting. As the fight raged on, it was evident that 𝐻𝐻𝐿 wasn't quite losing as much as he might have seemed. Both combatants were pushing their limits, their determination shining through. The sound of their clashes reverberated through the space, a testament to their fierce rivalry. In that moment, it struck me how extraordinary these individuals were. Each one had their unique strengths, and their battles were a constant reminder of the challenges we faced as aspiring heroes. As I continued to watch, I couldn't help but admire the unwavering spirit that fueled them, propelling them forward in their quest to become the best they could be. In the 𝐻𝐻𝐻 room, she's holding her own, and she has 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 captured, 𝗧𝗏 observed, his eyes fixed on the intense battle unfolding before him. The clash of powers and strategy between Momo and 𝐻𝐻𝐻 was a spectacle that had everyone's attention. This is surprising. I never thought that young 𝐻𝐻𝐻 would lose this easily, commented 𝐿𝐿𝐼ght, his deep voice carrying a hint of curiosity. He's always been pretty good at taking action in crisis situations. So, what happened this time? Meanwhile, on the scene, 𝐻𝐻𝐻's frustration was palpable as he found himself captured by Momo's clever maneuvers. He knew that he needed to think quickly to turn the situation to his advantage, especially with the possibility of Ida's interference. "Now you capture me and you can go," 𝐻𝐻𝐻 stated tersely, a mix of annoyance and concern in his voice. He was wary that Ida might be on his way, and he wanted to be prepared for any unexpected developments. Momo regarded 𝐻𝐻𝐻 with a measured look, her mind working rapidly. "Yeah, I was just about to do that," she responded, her thoughts calculating her next move. Her strategic thinking had already led her to anticipate 𝐻𝐻𝐻's actions. As Momo left the scene, her steps echoing through the building, a silent revelation unfolded within her mind. Yes, I knew that the explosion would originate from the top floor, just as 𝐻𝐻𝐻 himself did. But it was kind of easy to defeat him, she mused quietly, analyzing the situation. The memory of Izuku's assessment of 𝐻𝐻𝐻's power played at the edge of her thoughts, leaving her pondering how he had been taken down so swiftly. Just as Momo continued her ascent, Ida burst onto the scene, tearing away the tape that had bound 𝐻𝐻𝐻. The sudden turn of events caught the attention of those around them, sparking discussions and comments. "Hey, isn't that cheating? He was already captured," Kaminari protested, voicing the sentiment that many were likely thinking. However, All Might's response was swift and instructive. "It's not," All Might retorted, his voice carrying a tone of wisdom. "As you see, in a real-life situation, once a villain is captured, they won't just wait around for the hero to finish their job. They'll do everything in their power to escape. This simple mistake might end up being your demise, young man." 𝐻𝐻𝐻, now free from his restraints, stood his ground at the bottom floor, waiting for the opportune moment. The tension in the air was palpable, and the stakes were high as the battle continued to unfold, revealing the complexities of heroism, strategy, and the unpredictable nature of combat. On the 4th floor, Momo and I met. She asked me, "Did you find any bomb on the upper floor?" I replied, "No, did you find 𝐻𝐻𝐻 and his teammate?" I questioned her. She responded, "Yes, I did meet 𝐻𝐻𝐻 on the 2nd floor, but not his partner." I thought for a moment and then said, "If I knew 𝐻𝐻𝐻, where would I put the bomb, knowing my previous overconfidence?" "Nah, it's obvious it's on the bottom floor." It suddenly dawned on me. I then informed her, "But he's out, I captured him." She seemed concerned and pointed out, "But it's not against the rules if your partner frees you." I reminded her, as I mentioned, "Don't underestimate 𝐻𝐻𝐻. He can think outside the box." Her expression changed as she realized, I got outplayed. As they talk, 5-minute left hero, says the speaker on the wall. "Dang, we need to hurry," I exclaimed. Channeling my power, I increased my mass and slammed my fist into the ground, creating a hole leading down to the bottom floor. "Let's go down," I urged, leaping into the opening with Momo right behind me. Upon reaching the bottom floor, 𝐻𝐻𝐻 and Ida were waiting. Finally, both Momo and I arrived, although we did spend about a minute getting down here. The tension in the air was palpable as we locked eyes. 𝐻𝐻𝐻 then said, "Ida, you go for her," and I countered with, "Momo, You go for him. We exchanged smirks, fully aware of the showdown that was about to take place. With determination in our eyes, we declared, "Let's go." 𝐻𝐿𝐮𝐿 blasts off the ground, hurtling towards me with a determined look on his face. His explosive power surges around him as he closes the gap between us. I brace myself for impact, but before his attack connects, something strange happens. I feel myself fading as if I'm becoming non-existent, and in that fleeting moment, I manage to dodge his point-blank blast. As I reappear, I concentrate, my body growing denser and heavier. I can feel the weight of my increased mass as I launch a powerful punch right at 𝐻𝐿𝐮𝐿. But to my surprise, he's not caught off guard. With a skillful move, he adjusts the force of my blow, allowing him to duck and blast the ground beneath him, propelling himself away from danger. However, our clash doesn't go unnoticed. 𝐼𝐮, ever watchful, sees an opening in the chaos of our battle. He lunges at me, his kick aimed with precision. But 𝐻𝐿𝐮 intervenes just in time, deflecting 𝐼𝐮's attack away from me. A sharp pain fills the air, and I realize that 𝐼𝐮's kick has landed, but it's not me who's hurt, it's his own legs that bear the brunt of the impact. 𝐻𝐿𝐮's voice cuts through the turmoil. When he increases mass, so does his density, I hear him say. And when his density increases, he becomes nearly impregnable, too solid to harm. His words strike a chord within me as I prepare to leave the scene. I don't usually go for direct attacks on Izuku, 𝐻𝐿𝐮 continues, because he's impregnable, but not blast-resistant. I can't deny it. Sadly, it's true, I admit, acknowledging my vulnerability to certain types of attacks. As I start to walk away, 𝐻𝐿𝐮's voice brings me back. Focus on that girl. I'll handle him, he asserts, and with a renewed sense of determination, both of us dive back into the fray, our rivalry pushing us to give our all once again. Did the test end? I asked in disbelief, drenched in sweat. 𝐻𝐿𝐮 chimed in, "Yeah, right? You lost." I retorted, "But I always win 1v1s. 𝐻𝐿𝐮 conceded the point, yet he added, "Yeah, but the world isn't always about 1v1. His words struck me silent, and I admitted, "Yeah, you're right." With that, I turned and walked away. Then, 𝐿𝐼𝐮's voice cut through the tension, announcing, "The villain team wins." He continued, "You kids still have a lot to learn, but I'll help you hero up." It was a follow-up to his previous statement, and it carried a message that resonated deeply. Inside the mind of Izuku, the academic year progressed at UA High. I found myself surrounded by an array of extraordinary classmates in Class 1A. Each member brought their own unique abilities and quirks to the table, and it was fascinating to witness their growth and development alongside my own, but I've always known I had something special going on within me, something that set me apart from the rest. My quirk, this incredible ability to change my mass without changing my shape, gave me a power that most people could only dream of. And boy, did it make life smooth sailing for me. As I settled into my new life as a student at UA High. Among the friends of Class 1A, I found myself drawn to Momo Yaoyorozu and her impressive intelligence and grace. Our interactions often consisted of playful banter and light-hearted teasing, creating a fun dynamic within the class. While our flirtatious exchanges may have been entertaining for our classmates, it's crucial to remember that our focus remained on our hero training and preparing ourselves for future challenges. During this time, our friend 𝗀𝗀𝐻𝐻 stood as a steadfast ally, embodying his unwavering dedication to justice. Despite being caught in the middle of our playful exchanges, he remained focused and driven, reminding us all of the importance of staying grounded and focused on our goals. As the class prepared for the upcoming test, personal matters took a backseat, and our attention turned toward mental and physical preparation. The impending trials reminded us of the seriousness of the hero work we were training for, and the need to be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. I couldn't help but feel a sense of confidence. With my exceptional quirk, there was not a challenge that could truly test me, except for that explosive 𝐻𝐿𝐮, who just couldn't resist trying to one-up me at every opportunity. But who can blame them? I'm Izuku Midoriya, the one with the charm, the swagger, and a smile that could make anyone weak in the knees. Being at the top of the class just comes naturally to me, effortlessly outperforming my peers in hero training sessions and class activities. It's all a part of the package. However, deep down, there's a voice that doubts if my incredible quirk is enough to make me a true hero. Sure, everyone looks up to me and admires my abilities, but am I really proving myself? Am I really pushing the boundaries, or am I just coasting on this wave of power that's been given to me? I can't deny that I yearn for something more. I want to prove myself in other aspects, not just rely on my, dare I say, godlike quirk. Being a hero is about more than just brute strength and agility. It's about being well-rounded, adaptable, and having a personality that captivates the world, thinks Izuku as he goes around his school life and preparing for the test. To address these gnawing doubts, I've decided to join various extracurricular activities alongside my hero training. The journalism club seemed like a perfect fit. I mean, who wouldn't want to read articles about the future #1 hero's exploits? Plus, it's a chance to hone my charisma and communication skills. It'll also prove that there's a brain to match the brawn. After all, being a hero is about using my head too, not just my impressive quirk. I must admit, as I dived into these extracurricular activities, I faced challenges I hadn't expected. Excelling in academics and other areas requires more effort than simply flexing my quirk muscles. I learned all that, and I wouldn't have usually focused on those problems, but as Momo put all those in front of me, I couldn't just put them away. I had to face it, and at that point I realized I need to increase academic skill, and thankfully there was Momo to help me with all that. It was a humbling experience, but one that taught me the value of hard work and dedication. I realized that being a hero is about more than just being the strongest or the flashiest. It's about being a well-rounded individual. I needed to put in the work and push myself beyond the limits that my quirk had set for me. And in all honesty, it felt amazing to overcome these obstacles and prove my mettle. Through these experiences, I've truly come to appreciate the wide-ranging education and training that UA offers. It's not just about having a flashy quirk, it's about being knowledgeable, adaptable, and compassionate. I've learned that being a well-rounded hero is about more than just power. It's about using that power wisely, in the service of others. As I continue my hero training, I'm now striving for a balance. I want to hone my quirk while also developing the crucial skills that will make me a hero for the ages. And let's not forget that my dazzling personality and playful charm, those are going to be my secret weapons in capturing the hearts of people, thinks Izuku as he turns and goes home to prepare for tomorrow's test. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the training grounds of the unforeseen simulation joint, where the students of UA gathered, nervous to face the test. Among them was Izuku, his heart pounding with nervousness. Today, they were going to see how much they had learned about using their quirks to save lives, and he couldn't wait to prove himself. Yes, the class already had rescue exercises, and they are going to the USJ 2 months after they haven't been in school. Before they arrived, the pro hero 13 said, "Hello, everyone, I've been waiting for you," which is immediately followed by Achiko saying, "It's the space hero, 13, as 13 continues, saying, "I am the pro rescue hero 13. Listen carefully, I'm sure you're aware that I have a powerful quirk called Black Hole. My quirk could also very easily be used to kill. Some of you also have powers that can be dangerous. In our superhuman society, all quirks are certified and stringently regulated, so we often overlook how unsafe they can actually be. Please don't forget that if you lose focus or make the wrong move, your powers can be deadly, even if you're trying to do something virtuous like rescuing someone. Thanks to Aizawa's fitness tests, you have a solid idea of your quirk's potential. And because of All Might's combat training, you likely experienced how dangerous your powers can be when used against other people. Carry those lessons over to this class. Today, you're going to learn how to use your quirks to save people's lives. You won't be using your powers to attack enemies or each other, only to help. After all, that's what being a hero is all about, ensuring the safety of others." All the students nod as they remember Izuku destroying the building with ease. 13 finishes saying, "That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's go inside." Just then Kirishima said, "Holy seer. It looks like some kind of amusement park." Just as the students were talking among themselves, The teachers were talking about All Might not being there as he used all of his time in hero work. Just then, as 13 opened the door, a black fog appeared in the middle of the training ground as the villain appeared. Seeing the villain appear, 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻 said, "Stay together and don't move," as he jumped into action. Meanwhile, on the villain's side, a fog guy says, "The only real heroes I see are 13 and Eraserhead." Perplexing. According to the schedule we retrieved from UA, All Might should be here as well. As the guy with hands says, "Where is he? I went through the trouble of bringing so many friends who are eager to meet him. They want All Might, the great symbol of peace." As all that happened, 13 says, "Who among you is the fastest?" Someone among the students says, "Ida," as 13 says, "Then I have a job for you. Run to the school and tell the faculty what's going on here. The alarms aren't sounding, and our phones and radios are useless right now. One of these villains must be to blame." As all that was happening, 𝐿𝐼𝐻 jumps in the middle of all the villains and starts taking them down. 𝐿𝐼𝐻 says, "A villain like you is only dangerous if you can reach me. Good thing. I've taken measures to make sure that never happens. Now, which one of you gutter punks is next?" In contrast, the Handman replies, "There he goes, trying to intimidate us. He is strong, and since he's hiding behind those goggles, you can't tell whose quirk he's erasing. He's making it hard for us to work together or rely on each other's powers. How annoying. The worst thing about dealing with pros is when they live up to all their hype." While 𝐿𝐼𝐻 was fighting, Ida was preparing to run when a black portal appeared in front of them as the fog guy says, "There is no escape for you." I blinked, and the guy who seems like the most trouble got away. "It's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves into this haven of justice to say hello. And besides, isn't this a fitting place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath? I believe he was supposed to be here today, and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some sort of change in plans we could not have foreseen. Well, in the end, I suppose it doesn't matter. I still have a role to play." As it happened, at the same time, he teleported 𝐿𝐼𝐻 and started to fight the villains, so the fog guy missed 𝐿𝐼𝐻. As the villains appeared in front of them, 13 opened up his quirk but got injured himself. Meanwhile, the 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨 teleported some of the students. While he was doing that, Ida took the opportunity and ran to the door. 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨 was busy teleporting the students, and he couldn't catch Ida. As Ida stood outside, the fog-covered figure finished teleporting the students out of the entrance just as Bakugo and Kirishima leaped onto the fog-covered foe. At the earthquake zone, all the villains converged within the area. Just as they were about to strike, a black portal appeared in the air. Emerging from it were Izuku and Momo. The portal closed behind them, leaving them surrounded by a sea of villains. "What the hell?" Izuku exclaimed as he found Momo atop him. "Momo, can you please get up?" he asked, noticing the tense surroundings. "AAA, yes." Right away, Momo's swift response resonated through the chaos as she sprang to her feet. In a flash, she leaped upwards, her lithe form momentarily defying the turmoil. But in the midst of her rise, a villain lunged, driven by desperation. "Look out!" Izuku shouted, and Momo reacted with a fluid grace, her body elegantly ducking beneath the incoming assailant's grasp. The villain, now off balance, hurtled straight toward Izuku. Seizing the opening with instinctual speed, I tapped into the precision my quirk afforded me. My focus sharpened as I adjusted the density of my body, creating a controlled, targeted shift in my mass. My fist connected with the villain's chest, the impact deliberate yet calibrated. They crumpled, incapacitated by the calculated force of my strike. A charged energy pulsed through the air, the first villain's defeat seemingly acting as a catalyst. The rest of the villains intensified their assault, their attacks intensifying in unison. Amidst the chaos, most began targeting Momo, leaving only a handful focused on Izuku. Utilizing his quirk, Izuku shifted between 0 mass and 100 kilogram mass, using the variations to deliver powerful punches. Observing the situation, he realized that the villains attacking him were diminishing in number. Scanning the scene, he noticed that the majority were converging on Momo. Despite her efforts to fend them off with her equipment, she was struggling. Their coordinated assault testing her limits. Her struggle was palpable, each move weighted with determination. Unable to bear this imbalance, I called out, seeking to redirect their focus. "Hey, you jackasses! Come and fight me, not the girl. Are any of you even men?" My voice, edged with defiance, cut through the chaos, a challenge meant to provoke. My taunts weren't in vain. Some villains redirected their attacks, their anger fueled by my words. Yet, the more strategic among them clung to their course, their intentions shifting to using Momo as leverage against me. They were banking on exploiting my logic-defying quirk's limitations, and I couldn't allow that. With resolve renewed, I decided to take a more direct approach. I charged into the fray, my legs propelled me with augmented strength. I unleashed a potent kick that sent a villain hurtling towards the assembly of foes encircling Momo. And I soon followed after, and just as I was going to collide 𝐶𝐿, my momentum was suddenly halted, bringing him to a standstill. The peculiar situation unfolded as I collided with the suspended villain, both frozen in place. Urgency propelled me. "Are you okay, Momo?" My concern surged forth, urgency lacing my words. "Yes, hopefully I am. And thanks for the help." Momo's gratitude was palpable, a connection formed in the midst of chaos. The dire circumstances necessitated innovation. "Hey, Momo, can you create something that can handle a large crowd at once? I'm better at one-on-one combat and facing smaller groups, not at dealing with large numbers," I proposed as I lunged back into the battle. Momo's gaze sharpened with determination as she spun to face me. After some time, "I've got it," Momo declared. She spun around to face Izuku. "Izuku, protect me, okay?" Momo's plea resonated with a need that mirrored my own. "Sure thing," I affirmed, my focus shifting back to the battle. Momo shed a portion of her attire, conjuring a cannon fitted with a sophisticated fishing net mechanism. As we synced our efforts, a newfound rhythm took hold. "Izuku, make sure you're out of the cannon's line of fire," Momo's cautionary words echoed in the midst of our coordinated dance. "Don't worry, I can go zero mass anytime, so fire away." My reassurance was accompanied by a determined grin. Together, we surged ahead, our strategies converging seamlessly. Momo's cannon released its payload, ensnaring groups of villains in its web. My own efforts remained steadfast, as I engaged in hand-to-hand combat, efficiently neutralizing the captured foes. Exhaustion mixed with triumph as Momo's exclamation echoed. "Izuku, we did it." "Of course we did," Izuku grinned, his fatigue barely masking his satisfaction. "Momo, you should rest too. You seem quite worn out." "It's nothing. Now, let's head towards the entrance," Momo suggested. As they moved, they found themselves walking remarkably close to each other, their shoulders almost touching. Engrossed in conversation and laughter, they continued towards the exit, nearly oblivious to the unique phenomenon of their proximity. Momo and I were on our way out when we spotted 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei in a perilous situation. A Nomu was attacking him, and things took a horrifying turn when the Nomu grabbed 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei's head under Shigaraki's orders. The command came, "Nomu, crush his skull now." I didn't hesitate, I sprang into action. In an instant, I changed my mass to a whopping 10,000 kilograms and launched myself off the ground, creating a shockwave that cleared the area. I closed in on the Nomu, calculating my moves meticulously. Upon impact, the Nomu went soaring through the air, a result of my precise strategy. As I reverted my mass to normal, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. Shigaraki said, "What's going on? How did the Nomu get thrown like that?" "It's supposed to be an unbeatable opponent, designed to take down All Might." Amidst the chaos, I kept 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei in my sight, his injured form etched into my mind, as I stands catching 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei standing tall and protecting 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei. I assured him, "Sensei, you can rest now. I'll take down that thing and ensure everyone's safety, even if it's my last act." 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴-sensei's consciousness wavered, and he barely managed to say, "Problem child, it's not your duty or time to shoulder this burden. It's my Joe." His voice faded, his consciousness slipping away. Firm in my resolve, I leaped away from the center of USJ with Izuxmomo-sensei in my arms towards Momo, urgently calling out, "Momo, take sensei away and keep him safe. I'll solve this." Momo expressed concern. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 pro hero can't do anything to that thing. What can we hero in training, a child, even do? I listened carefully, contemplating my response. I replied with unwavering determination, "What can I do if I, the strongest in class, don't do anything? That thing is going to go on a rampage, killing all the students. If I, who has a chance, don't do anything, am I even worthy of this quick?" Momo's eyes glistened with worry and tears, and I felt warmth in my heart at her concern. Momo, listening to this, says, "Baka, even if you're the strongest in the class, it doesn't mean you need to shoulder the weight all on your own. You're still a child, not a pro hero. Can't you see that I am worried about you? What if you ended up like Izuxmomo-sensei?" Momo says this as she ends up crying. Izuku, seeing this, starts to smile and says, "Thanks for worrying about me, but I will make sure not to end up like Izuxmomo-sensei." Momo looks up and says, "Promise? Promise. Now take Izuxmomo-sensei away," says Izuku as he walks away. He thinks Momo was cute, but he can't entertain this thought right now, as he is now supposed to fight. Momo's gaze lingered on his back, a mix of emotions in her eyes. She seemed to be wondering why she became so emotional, even shedding tears in front of Izuku. As she held onto Izuxmomo-sensei, she resolved to come back and help him after ensuring sensei's safety. Facing the Nomu before me and standing opposite Shigaraki, I felt a surge of determination. Shigaraki commanded, "You got lucky, kid. Nomu, go and take out that brat." The Nomu charged at me, and I met its approach with resolute determination. I held my ground, increasing my mass to 7 kilograms. I stood firm as the Nomu closed in, my heart racing from the sheer force it possessed. With a touch of jest, I remarked, "That packed quite a punch, didn't it?" My own nervousness was concealed, but I could feel it beneath the surface. I wondered, how did Izuxmomo-sensei manage to withstand this level of force? It would be enough to crush a normal man. However, what Izuku wasn't aware of was that Nomu had only used minimal strength against Aizawa to conserve its power for all might. Shigaraki had instructed Nomu to hold back against Aizawa, while against him, Shigaraki had commanded Nomu to knock out, so it used its full strength. My actions unfolded quickly. Swiftly calculating my next move, I quickly change my mass to 10,000 kilograms and unleash a powerful blow on Nomu. To my astonishment, Nomu remains unfazed, staring back at me. He then lunges to grab my head. This is the first time someone has endured my punch with such force. Normally, this level of force would incapacitate or even kill an opponent. But before I can fully absorb this shock, Nomu's massive hand rockets toward me. Instinct kicks in, and I adjust my mass to 0, causing me to evade Nomu's incoming attack. His hand passes through the space I occupied, and in an instant, I restore my mass to its original state. With Nomu's next strike in mind, I react swiftly, manipulating my mass again to catch his hand in midair. Capitalizing on the moment, I hurl Nomu into a different part of the city, zone where he crashes into a wall. The Nomu emerged from the impact unharmed, leaping back at me. My instincts kicked in, shifting my mass to evade its incoming attack. The Nomu walks out unscathed and leaps towards me. I quickly start increasing my mass again, then I run and jump at the Nomu. Just before our collision, I prepare my hand to strike the Nomu's head, even as its hand aims for mine. In a swift motion, I use my free hand to catch its hand and then deliver a powerful punch that propels the Nomu flying into the USJ area. After the crash, the Nomu stands seemingly unharmed. I feel the gravity of the situation sink in. However, I fail to notice that the Nomu has closed the gap between us with remarkable speed. Now we're locked in close combat. I push myself to change my mass like never before. But the Nomu's shock absorption ability mitigates most of the impact from my punches. Still, I persistently alter my mass, pushing the limits of its shock absorption. The exchange of blows between the Nomu and me intensifies, generating a swirling dust storm around us. The battle's intensity continues to rise as we trade blow after blow. As everyone witnesses this incredible display of strength, the combatants on both sides pause their fighting. The villains become mesmerized, their initial bravado turning into fear as they witness a semblance of a second All Might in me. Meanwhile, the aspiring heroes in training are left in utter shock. To see me going toe-to-toe with the very being that had overcome Aizawa Sensei leaves them awestruck and speechless. Amidst the swirling dust storm, the 𝗏𝗚 begins to show signs of faltering. Its punches start to miss their target, and simultaneously, I'm feeling the strain on my stamina as my accuracy wanes. Realizing that the decisive moment has arrived, I make the choice, now or never. I increase my mass to an unprecedented level and relentlessly pummel the 𝗏𝗚. With each punch, its resistance weakens, and finally, the 𝗏𝗚 collapses onto the ground, motionless. Suddenly, amidst the tension, Shigaraki's furious voice cuts through the chaos, shouting, "Get up, 𝗏𝗚. You have to kill him." The 𝗏𝗚's finger twitches in response, and anxiety courses through me. I wonder if I should have started with 101,936 kilograms. Fortunately, the 𝗏𝗚 remains incapacitated, its body seemingly shut down while only its head functions. Shigaraki's frustration is palpable as he yells, "This can't be. 𝗏𝗚 was supposed to kill All Might. It can't be defeated like this." He charges toward me, but just as he's about to reach me, the USJ doors burst open. All Might enters, carrying another hero in his arms. Simultaneously, the gun hero takes aim and shoots at the ground near Shigaraki's feet, halting his advance. Then, with unwavering resolve, All Might's voice rings out, "I am here." Witnessing this, 𝗀𝐻𝗧𝗟𝗘 teleports away with Shigaraki, disappearing from the scene. I exhale a sigh of relief as I see the tension dissolve. Automatically, my mind releases its grip on my quirk, and I revert to my normal state. Seeing this Momo rush to me, her voice tinged with pride and joy, "You did it, Izuku. You saved everyone." A smile formed on my lips, and I began to respond, "Hey, I sure did. I told you I wow." My words are abruptly cut off as I cough up blood, concern flashing in her eyes. Momo hastens her pace. However, her gaze shifts behind me, and her expression twists with alarm as she spots a broken pole hurtling towards me. She urgently warns, "Izuku, look out." But her warning comes too late, and the pole strikes Izuku's head. Izuku crumpled to the ground, and Momo's heart tightens in fear. Swiftly, she rushes to Izuku's side, her worry evident as she assesses Izuku's condition. Finding that he is just unconscious but still breathing, relief washes over her, and she scolds, "Idiot, don't make me worry like this again, okay?" Sitting down, she gently cradles his head in her lap, her fingers tenderly running through his hair. A smile plays on her lips as she looks down at Izuku, a mixture of emotions in her eyes. "Oh, and you might be wondering where that pole came from. Well, during the 𝗏𝗚 fight, it broke and landed on the ground. Since Izuku was increasing his mass, he essentially created a gravitational field around him. This gravitational pull caused the pole to be drawn towards him. As I woke up, I found myself lying in bed, staring at an unfamiliar ceiling. Where am I? Was my initial thought, and I couldn't help but voice it out loud. You're in the medical ward, young man, came the response from the recovery girl. I turned my head to see her approaching me, leaning on a cane. You've got quite a resilient body there. Judging by the injuries I'm looking at, you haven't been that badly hurt. Though the report of your fight suggests something else. Your body was hanging on by a thread, so when I used my quirk, it pushed your already exhausted stamina even further. You'll need a good day's rest at the very least. She explained. Yes, ma'am, I responded. All right, I've already given your parents the heads up that you're awake. They should be heading here soon, she added. Ah, okay, I replied, my nerves kicking in as I started to think about how to reassure my mom. After a few hours, the door to the medical ward was ajar, revealing Izuku's mother, Inko, standing there with worry etched across her face. From the moment the USJ attack had concluded and Izuku had been placed in the medical ward, she had received a phone call from Nizu. He had informed her that her son had been involved in a villain attack, assuring her of his safety while also explaining that he was currently in the medical ward. Despite Nizu's words, Inko's mind had frozen. His message about Izuku being in danger due to the attack didn't quite process. By the time she had arrived at the medical ward, the clock had already struck 6 p.m. Gazing at her son, who lay on the hospital bed, worry evident in her eyes and tears threatening to escape, Inko approached him and gently clasped his hand, whispering, "Baby, your mom is here. Wake up." There was no response, only an unsettling silence. She had never anticipated a day like today, believing that even if his opponent was more powerful, Izuku's quirk, his ability to reduce his mass to 0, would always ensure his safety. She thought he would return home unscathed, just as he had after first discovering his quirk years ago. Overwhelmed, Inko held onto Izuku's hand, tears streaming down her cheeks. Suddenly, a hand reached out and grasped hers. "Don't worry, Auntie. Izuku's okay." The recovery girl said he's just exhausted from using her quirk. "You don't need to cry. Izuku is strong," reassured Bakugo. Inko managed a nod through her tears, replying, "I know, Bakugo, but to see him lying here, helpless before me. Why did he feel the need to fight? He could have just run away from danger." Inko's voice quivered, tears welling up in her eyes once more. At that moment, a voice chimed in from behind her. "He fought to protect all of us. Izuku risked his life to shield us. He once said, if I, the one with the power to become the strongest, can't protect everyone, then what's the use of my quirk?" It was Momo who spoke, her comforting words wrapping around Inko's heart. Turning around, Inko was met with the sight of Class 1A, both inside and outside the ward, standing together in support. Witnessing this united display, Inko's tears began to subside, replaced by a grateful smile. "You're absolutely right," she replied softly, her heart swelling with pride for her amazing son. Now in the present, "Izuku, my baby, are you all right?" my mom asks as she walks over to me. "Yes, Mom, I'm okay," I reply. "Oh good. I'm relieved," she says. Seeing her reaction leaves me a bit puzzled, but it's also a relief to know that I don't need to do anything to reassure her. "Izuku, promise me you won't do anything like this again. If you ever come face to face with a villain, you need to run and find a pro hero." Mom's voice is filled with concern, and I nod in response. With my agreement understood, she continues, "I've said what I needed to say. Now, I think your friends would like to talk to you." She looks back, and I notice my entire class gathered there. "Izuku, are you okay? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Did you get hurt?" My friends barrage me with questions about my well-being. After their inquiries, they start to disperse, except for one. As the others leave, one person comes back, and it's Momo. "You said you wouldn't be hurt, like Aizawa-sensei. I believed you were fine, but then you coughed up BLD and passed out," Momo says, her tone heavy with concern. "Okay, I get it. But my injuries weren't as bad as Aizawa-sensei's. Recovery girl said they were minimal, and something hit my head, which made me lose consciousness," I explain. "You were hit by a pole. I'm just wondering how that pole ended up there," Momo muses. "As I think back, I can't figure out how that pole got to me. There weren't any villains around who could have thrown it." Both Momo and I find ourselves pondering. Just as I'm about to give up, Momo proposes, "Izuku, your quirk lets you change your mass, right?" "Yes," I confirm. "How high did you increase your mass?" Momo asks. "I'm not sure. I kept increasing my mass while I was trying to take on the 𝗏𝗏's punches," I answer. "Ah, that's it. You must have reached a mass where you generated your own gravitational field. The pole would have been drawn to you," Momo explains. "I can do that." "Huh, I had no idea," I exclaim in surprise. "Yes, theoretically, using the formula FGXM1XM2/D⁻², you could create your own gravitational field," Momo informs me. Now I'm really curious about what else I can do. I wonder aloud. "Let me research that for now." "Right now, you need to rest," Momo suggests as she heads out of the room. As I settle back into bed, I drift off to sleep, my mind buzzing with newfound possibilities. In a school setting, a concerned parent engaged in a discussion with a representative from the institution regarding the aftermath of the 𝐻𝐶𝐽 attack, which had directly impacted their son. The parent voiced their anxieties about their child's safety in the wake of the incident and sought assurance about the proposed security measures. Attentively, the school representative listened, acknowledging the parents' concerns. They detailed the school's plan to construct a protective dome around the premises, supplemented by the presence of pro-heroes as guards, in order to enhance security. The parent inquired about potential implications for the students' education and daily life, wondering if they would be confined within the dome. The school representative empathetically assured them that while certain outdoor activities might be restricted, the dome was designed to provide a safe yet enriching environment, ensuring quality education and extracurricular engagements. Seeking further clarity, the parent questioned the possibility of parental visits to the dome. The representative affirmed their commitment to transparency, disclosing plans for regular parent visits, thus allowing them to observe security measures and interact with the guarding pro-heroes. The parent expressed gratitude for the school's responsiveness and underscored their paramount concern for their child's safety. In turn, the representative reiterated the institution's dedication to security and a supportive learning atmosphere. With appreciation and a sense of relief, the parent thanked the representative for their time and understanding, acknowledging the school's endeavor to prioritize safety and education harmoniously. This 𝐀𝐮𝐿 until for all the students essentially, their conversation unfolded as follows. Parent: Excuse me, I wanted to talk to you about the recent incident involving the 𝐻𝐶𝐽 attack. My son was there during the attack, and I'm concerned about his safety moving forward. School representative: Of course, I understand your concern. The 𝐻𝐶𝐽 attack was a troubling incident, and we are taking steps to ensure the safety of all students. We're planning to build a protective dome around the school premises, and we'll have pro-heroes stationed as guards to enhance security. Parent: I appreciate your efforts to increase security, but I'm still worried about my son's safety. Can I be assured that he'll be protected within this dome? School representative: I completely understand your concern. The protective dome will be equipped with advanced security measures, such as surveillance systems, reinforced barriers, and anti-intrusion technology. The presence of pro-heroes as guards will also provide an additional layer of protection. We are working closely with experienced pro-heroes to develop strategies to respond quickly to any potential threats. Parent: That's reassuring to hear, but I'm also concerned about how this might affect the students' education and overall experience. Will they be confined within the dome at all times? School representative: We understand the importance of maintaining a balanced and enriching environment for our students. The protective dome is designed to prioritize safety without compromising on the quality of education and student life. While there might be some restrictions in terms of outdoor activities, we are committed to providing engaging classes, training, and extracurricular activities within the dome. We want to ensure that students can continue their studies and personal growth without feeling overly restricted. Parent: I'm glad to hear that you're considering both safety and the students' well-being. Will there be any opportunities for parents to visit and see the conditions within the dome? School representative: Absolutely, we believe in transparency and keeping parents informed. We're planning to organize regular parent visits within the dome so that you can see the security measures and conditions for yourselves. This will also be a chance for you to interact with the pro-heroes who are safeguarding the school. Parent: That's a relief to hear. Thank you for addressing my concerns. I just want to ensure my son's safety while allowing him to continue his education without disruptions. School representative: We completely understand your concerns as a parent, and we're here to support both you and your son. If you have any further questions or suggestions, please don't hesitate to let us know. We are committed to creating a secure and nurturing environment for all our students. Parent: Thank you for taking the time to address my concerns. I appreciate your efforts and dedication to keeping our children safe. In an unknown home on a TV reporter, this is a follow-up report on yesterday's incident at the U. Rescue training facility, where hero course students were attacked by villains. According to the police investigation, the criminals identify themselves as the League of Villains and have been plotting to target All Might, who has been a teacher at U. since this spring. Despite the arrest of 72 villains, the whereabouts of their ringleader remain unknown. 𝐬𝐿 gazed at the television screen, absorbing the report's information. The room was dimly lit, the glow of the screen casting flickers of light on his focused expression. He contemplated the situation before him. All Might glanced at 𝐬𝐿, inquiring, "What's on your mind, 𝐬𝐿?" 𝐬𝐿 met All Might's gaze and responded, "The police have delved into the group identifying themselves as the League of Villains. There's no record of anyone in their 20s or 30s named Shigaraki with a disintegration quirk. The same applies to the individual known as 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 with the warp gate ability. It's likely that they're not using their real names and might not even be registered citizens. Essentially, they're individuals from the darker corners of society with unregistered quirks." With a concerned look, 𝐬𝐿 questioned, "But what's the significance of that? Why did they launch such a brazen attack? It's something most regular folks wouldn't even consider attempting." And the way that man-child rambled on. He boasted about Nomu's quirk, even though he didn't divulge his own. And when things didn't go his way, he couldn't hide his frustration. Though I believe he aimed to manipulate the quirk situation, he recklessly abandoned the advantage of using unknown quirks against heroes. He spouted immature, nonsensical claims with unwavering confidence. He flaunted his possessions. It's as if he believed everything should simply fall into place. When I consider this, along with my observations during the attack, I envision Shigaraki as someone who hasn't outgrown his juvenile sense of invincibility. A grown man acting like a child. Listening attentively, All Might responded, "Well, that's an interesting assessment. But the real issue lies in the 72 villains apprehended at USJ. They were all low-level criminals hiding in the shadows. The concerning part is their alignment with this man-child's ideology and leadership. In a world flooded with heroes, individuals harboring villainous inclinations might be drawn to such a simplistic form of evil." 𝐬𝐿 nodded in agreement, adding, "You're right. Many people struggle to find their place with their quirks. The situation is indeed alarming. Thankfully, we can focus on our investigative efforts thanks to the pro-heroes. We'll expand our search network and continue supporting the capture of these perpetrators." As the conversation continued, All Might's thoughts drifted inward, contemplating the situation at hand. He silently mused, a man-child. In a peculiar way, he's not so different from our students. There's still room for growth. But if there's someone manipulating him, cultivating his malevolence, I shudder to think of the potential consequences. The day following the League of Villains attack on USJ, the school temporarily closed its doors. Yet, relaxation proved elusive. With the school reopening, everything felt familiar again as I entered Class 1A. The air was alive with whispers, and in the midst of the anticipation, 𝗧𝗏 and Kaminari were sharing secrets in hushed tones. 𝗧𝗏 barely whispered, "Did you catch the news last night?" Kaminari nodded, responding just as quietly, "Yeah." Leaning in, 𝗧𝗏 grinned like he was sharing a big secret. "Did you notice everyone from our class appearing on screen for a second?" Realization spread across Kaminari's face. "I didn't really stand out, huh?" 𝗧𝗏 chuckled softly, "You've got a point." Kaminari smirked playfully, "Guess it's hard to stand out when you look like me, right?" 𝗧𝗏's laughter was muffled, but seriously, the way the channels hyped it up was unexpected. Meanwhile, my thoughts were focused on the upcoming 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 sports festival. Almost as if she could read my mind, Mina exclaimed with excitement, "The sports festival. It's such a normal school event." Momo, being practical as always, voiced her concerns, cutting through the excitement. "Wait, is it really safe to have a sports festival so soon after the villains attacked the school? What if they come after us again during the event?" Ida, ever responsible, answered her, "The school administration sees it as a chance to demonstrate our crisis management system's strength. They're increasing security by 5 times compared to previous years. And besides, the sports festival is a significant opportunity. We can't just cancel it because of a few villains." As the discussion continued, Achiko voiced her worries. "Don't you all feel even a little scared? What if they attack us again during the festival? It could be really dangerous." Mina responded empathetically, "It's understandable, though, right? The hero course itself was targeted, and if the teachers hadn't acted quickly, it could have been a disaster. In the midst of this conversation, Kirishima couldn't resist teasing 𝗧𝗧𝗟. "Cut it out, 𝗧𝗧𝗟." 𝗧𝗧𝗟's nerves got the better of him. "I can't help it. Just thinking about it." Kirishima's firm tone silenced him. "Enough. Keep it down." Amidst the uncertainty, admiration for my heroics came through. Mina's voice carried a hint of awe. But seriously, Izuku was incredible, taking on those overwhelmingly strong villains. Before the anticipation could escalate further, Momo's authoritative voice took over. "All right, everyone. Morning homeroom is about to start. Quiet down and take your seats." 𝗧𝗧𝗟 joked with a wry smile. "We're already seated." Kirishima retorted quickly, "You're the only one standing." Tsuyu's curious croak joined in. "Ribbit, who's our teacher today?" Kirishima answered with a touch of uncertainty. "Well, Mr. Aizawa should still be recovering at the hospital." Tsuyu's persistent amphibian curiosity continued. "Ribbit." Breaking the silence, Momo greeted our returning teacher. "Good morning." Her voice held surprise and respect as she noted Mr. Aizawa's early return. "Mr. Aizawa, you're back sooner than we expected. You're the definition of a pro." Ida's concern was palpable. "So, Mr. Aizawa, how are you feeling?" Aizawa's response carried weight. "Can you really call this feeling better? But how I'm doing personally isn't the focus. What's important is that the battle isn't over." As realization sank in, Kirishima's voice tinged with disbelief. "Wait, are you saying the villains are still a threat?" Aizawa's answer was solemn. "Yes, they are. The sports festival is approaching." Momo's tone shifted to one of familiarity and nostalgia. "Ah, the sports festival. It's such a typical school event." Mina agreed, her voice echoing the sentiment. "Absolutely, just a normal school event." Momo's uncertainty cut through. "But is it really wise to proceed with the sports festival so soon after the villains attack? What if they strike again during the event?" Ida's logical explanation followed. "The school administration sees it as an opportunity to showcase our resilience and the effectiveness of our crisis management system. Security measures are being escalated to levels 5 times higher than previous years. And beyond all that, the sports festival is a grand opportunity for us." Mineta's apprehension resurfaced. "Seriously? Aren't you guys even a bit worried? What if they attack us again during the festival? It's incredibly risky." Mina's response held understanding. "Well, we can't really blame them. The hero course, where future pros are being trained, was under attack. Without the teacher's prompt intervention, the outcome could have been dire." Aizawa mentioned, "Our sports festival is a huge chance. We can't cancel an event of this scale because of a few villains. The sports festival has taken on the role of what the Olympics used to be for Japan. After graduation, many of you will likely join a pro agency as sidekicks. However, some might miss the chance to become independent and end up as eternal sidekicks. If you're aiming to go pro, this event is your path to the future. You only get one chance a year. Just 3 chances in total." Achiko added with excitement. "Even with everything that's happened, I'm really looking forward to it. If we give an outstanding performance and stand out, we'll take the first step toward becoming pros. Coming to you was worth it." Someone chimed in, "We have limited opportunities. We can't afford to let this one slip." As Aizawa-sensei finished the announcement, our class resumed as intended, and then the break came as we were leaving. Just as we were about to exit, one of our classmates opened the door, asking, "What's going on?" Another classmate, seeing this, inquired, "What business do you have with Class A?" From the midst of the crowd, someone observed, "Scouting out the enemy, small fry." Ida chimed in with concern, "We're the ones who made it out of the villain's attack. They probably want to check us out for the sports festival." I walked to the front of the class and asserted, "All of you move out. I don't care if you're here to observe or whatever, you don't have the right to block our path like this. So, clear the way." Amidst all this, a guy with purple hair stepped forward from the crowd and remarked, "I came to see what the famous Class A was like, but you all seem pretty arrogant. Are all the students in the hero course like this?" Your attitude is quite disillusioning. There are many who didn't make it into the hero course and ended up in general studies or other programs. Did you know that? The school has given us a chance. Depending on the sports festival results, they might consider transferring us into the hero course. They might even transfer students out. He continued, scouting out the enemy. Well, I'm here to declare that even if you're in the hero course, if you let your arrogance get the best of you, I won't hesitate to knock you down. Consider this a declaration of war. Listening to his words, I couldn't help but respond, you can go ahead and declare war, but for a war, both sides need to be evenly matched. I don't see you and me as equals. A voice from the crowd added, this guy's got some nerve. I smirked and replied, yes, I am bold because my boldness is backed by power. There's a reason I was ranked number 1. I earned that rank by proving myself, unlike all of you who couldn't even make it here on your first attempt and now act like you're all superior on your second try. Ignoring the rest of the students, I headed towards the cafeteria. On my way, Momo came up to me and said, Izuku, why did you have to say all those things? None of it was necessary. I listened to Momo's words and admitted, yes, it was unnecessary, but their behavior, acting all high and mighty while blocking our path, just irritated me. I let my emotions get the best of me. Momo sighed and advised, Izuku, you need to control your emotions. At USJ, you were composed and acted like a true hero. Now, you're letting yourself get worked up like a child. Hearing this, I chuckled and responded, yeah, you're right. We continued to chat and went about our day. On the day of the 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴 Sports Festival, the excitement was palpable. The crowd was buzzing with anticipation as President Mick's energetic voice filled the air. Pay attention, audience. Swarm, mass media. This year's high school rodeo of adolescence that you all love, the 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴 Sports Festival, is about to begin. Everybody, are you ready? It's time for the students to enter the first-year stage. The 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴 Sports Festival. The huge battle where fledgling heroes sharpen their swords once a year. Anyway, these are the guys, right? The miraculous new stars who overcame enemy attacks with their hearts of steel. Hero course, Class 1A, right? There are so many people. Will they be able to give their best performance being watched by so many people? President Mike continued with his excitement, hyping up the crowd and building the anticipation. They haven't been getting as much airtime, but this class is also full of talent. Hero course, Class 1B. Next up, General Studies classes C, D, and E. Support course, classes F, G, and H are here too. And Business course, classes I, J, and K. All of you as first years are here now. President Mike introduced the various first-year classes, highlighting the diversity of talents present. Time for the player pledge. This year's chief umpire for the first years is the R-rated hero, Midnight. President Mike announced with a questioning tone. Quiet, everyone. Representing the students is 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐴 from Class 1A. Midnight's authoritative voice cut through the buzz of the crowd. That guy did finish first in the entrance exam. In the hero course. Remarked someone from the first year of 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴. Hello, everybody. I hope you all have a nice day. But this sports festival is going to be boring as I will get first place. So, all of you sit back and relax, watching who will get second. And as for all the students who came to try and get second, well, good luck, Izuku said, a proud smile on his face and his eyes radiating confidence. His words left a strong impression on the audience. As Izuku finished his speech, a wave of astonishment and protest swept through the students. Voices cried out in disbelief. What the heck? Stop messing around. Don't be so full of yourselves, 𝐻𝐮𝐬𝐴. You 𝐻𝐿. Why are you doing something so disgraceful? At least become a nice bouncy step for me to jump off of, quipped the purple-haired guy. How overconfident can you get? Every year, many drink their tears here. Now, here is the fateful first game. This year's an obstacle course race. All 11 classes will participate in this race. The course will be the outer circumference of this stadium, about 4 kilometers. Our school's selling point is freedom. As long as you stay on the course, it doesn't matter what you do. Now, Take your places, everyone. Present Mic announced the details of the upcoming event, further fueling the crowd's excitement. Okay, here's the play-by-play. Are you ready to do the commentary, mummy man? Present Mic chuckled. You're the one who forced me to come, 𝐿𝐮𝐽 replied, his expression unamused, as he prepared for the event ahead. Standing before me is a narrow, elongated tunnel. Students surround me, pushing forward to secure the first position. Yet I observe, taking in the determined rush of activity. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems we have an unconventional participant in this race. While most rush headlong into the tunnel, this individual has adopted a more contemplative approach, allowing peers to take the lead, announces Present Mic. Amidst the commotion, Momo gazes at me with curiosity in her eyes. Why aren't you running? She asks. My response is calm and deliberate. I'm giving them a chance. Now you should go as well. I watch as Momo ponders my words, but her contemplation is interrupted as Todoroki freezes the ground. It's time to act. I suppose I should get ready, I remark casually, brushing imaginary dirt off my shoulder. Momo Yaoyorozu, one of the top students in the class, seems baffled by Izuku's choice. Why are you here and not running? She seems to inquire, her expression reflecting the questions we all must be asking, says Present Mic. Turning my attention back to Momo, I beckon her over. Come here, Momo, I say, extending my hand. She hesitates for a moment before deciding to take my hand. Hold on tight, okay? With a slight shift in my body's mass, I launch into a sprint, shattering the ice created by Todoroki. Spotting an open path, I pick up speed, shifting my mass again as I bound forward, leaving the competition behind. And just look at that, folks. A collaboration between Izuku and Momo Yaoyorozu. An unexpected pairing, yet a powerful one. Their unity is a testament to the bonds formed in the heat of competition, exclaims Present Mic. Suddenly, I encounter a group of students struggling against the 0-pointers. Without hesitation, I leap onto one of the robots, delivering a powerful blow that takes out its head. Glancing back at the other students, I offer a parting quip, see you all. And just like that, I'm off again, their astonished gazes tracing my every move, particularly the unfamiliar girl on my back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're witnessing a fascinating display of control and adaptability here. Izuku Midoriya is using his unique abilities to effortlessly tackle the obstacles that come his way. His mass manipulation is proving to be quite the game changer. Present Mic remarks. Hold your breath, everyone. Izuku Midoriya is approaching the high rope obstacle. Now, what is he going to do? Says Present Mic. Approaching the next challenge, the high rope, I direct my attention to Momo. Hold on to me tightly, it might get rough, I advise her. Edging toward the precipice, I propel myself off the edge, manipulating my mass to achieve the perfect balance between lightness and momentum. Repeating the process, I navigate the obstacle with unprecedented speed, leaving the other students amazed. I approach an ice-covered field, quickly instructing Momo to create ice skates. With this new advantage, I glide effortlessly across the ice. This pattern continues through each challenge, making them seem effortless. Time flies as I conquer one obstacle after another. Finally, I face the last challenge, where Bakugo and Todoroki are entrenched. I greet them with a light-hearted tone. Hey, guys, how's it going? Bakugo, drenched in sweat, retorts, as you can see, jackass, his frustration evident. Todoroki remains silent, his demeanor inscrutable. Without further ado, I leap into action, surmounting the obstacle with ease and crossing the finish line, securing the first position. Momo follows closely behind, claiming second place. Ladies and gentlemen, what a remarkable performance. Izuku Midoriya emerges as the victor, defying convention and inspiring us all. His journey through this obstacle course showcases the power of determination, teamwork, and thinking outside the box. In a competition that seemed like a clash of raw strength and speed, Izuku Midoriya's brilliance has left an indelible mark. His actions remind us that heroism isn't just about physical prowess, but about the heart, the mind, and the connections we forge along the way, says Present Mic. Amidst the crowd's excitement, Present Mick's voice rings out, capturing the surprising turn of events. What a turn of events! The last starting student was the first to finish. Woo-woo, this is the end of the first year's first round. Let's look at the results. In first place, we have 𝐒𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. In second place, we have 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, and in third place, we have ᴂ𝗱𝗱𝗃, announces Midnight as she proceeds through the rankings. She continues until she reaches the 42nd spot, and then states, the top 42 have made it into the next round. For those who didn't make it, we have something else prepared for you. Now, let's move on to the second round, says Midnight as she spins the wheel. The next round is the cavalry battle, she adds. Now, let me explain. The participants are going to form groups of up to it's basically the same as the real thing, but there's one difference. Based on the scores from the previous rounds, we will assign points. The 42nd place will receive 5 points, the 41st place will receive 10 points, and the first place will receive a whopping 10 million points, Midnight elaborates. As soon as Midnight Sensei finished talking, I knew I would be the #1 target. Since it was a team game, the first person that came to my mind was Momo, so I acted on it. Momo, do you want to partner with me? I asked, and Momo nodded. So, you and I are in a team. You can stand in the front, but with me at your back, it will be difficult. Let's search for the third member, Momo suggested. I agreed. When I think about versatility, the first person that comes to mind is you, and the second is Tokoyami. Momo explained her plan. Yes, his quirk is very good. I can sit on his shoulder, and his quirk, Dark Shadow, can watch all sides. You can watch the front, and I can make a stick so that whoever comes near gets imbalanced and falls. I nodded in agreement. Yes, this is a good plan. We approached Tokoyami and asked if he wanted to team up with us, and he agreed. With our team formed, we found ourselves on the battlefield. Most everyone was coming after me, except Bakugo, who went after Todoroki since he knew going after me would be foolish. As all eyes were on me, I stood my ground and increased my mass, becoming immovable. In this formation, the front person couldn't snatch the ribbon unless they were in range. Since I stood in front, most of them couldn't get to it, but a few managed to slip past me or approach from the sides. However, Dark Shadow handled those, and the remaining ones were taken care of by Momo. Her strikes unbalanced them, causing them to fall and miss grabbing the ribbon. This pattern continued until halftime, and by then, most teams were busy fighting each other instead of us. They really are scared of us, aren't they? Momo commented. I chuckled and replied, yes, think about it. When they face a mountain, a shadow, and just when they think they've overcome all obstacles, a stick comes flying at them, shattering their hopes. As all of this unfolded, Tokoyami remained silent. Time's up. In first place, we have the team of 𝐒𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, Momo Yaoyorozu, and Fumikiage Tokoyami, announced Midnight as she revealed the rankings. Ladies and gentlemen, heroes and heroines, we stand here at the brink of an electrifying third round. The waves of competition have ushered us to this juncture, and now, the remaining students shall collide in a crucible of intellect, strategy, and unwavering will. I can practically taste the tension in the air, a tangible excitement for the exceptional clashes poised to unravel. These youthful champions have already bared their souls in the preceding rounds, unveiling their unique quirks and resolute determination. But in this chapter of the contest, they must plunge even deeper, transcending their boundaries to seize triumph. To those contenders standing prepared, remember that this is your instance to radiate. Within this Colosseum, beneath the moon's watchful eye and amid the roars of the crowd, you possess the opportunity to etch your name into the scrolls of heroic chronicles. So, embrace the shadows, welcome the trial, and allow the brilliance of your quirk to illuminate the night. Without further delay, let the third round of the UA Sports Festival commence. Feel at liberty to incorporate your personal flourishes and cadence as you embody the essence of Midnight. Revel in channeling her charismatic dynamism and captivating aura. Proclaims Midnight. As I step out of my door, I listen to Midnight's voice announcing my arrival with a touch of dramatic flair. The first match is 𝐒𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 versus Hitoshi Shinso, and now we welcome 𝐒𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫. Her words echo through the arena. Walking onto the stage, I feel the spotlight on me as I take in the crowd's energy. Then, Midnight's voice takes the spotlight again, introducing my opponent, and in opposition, we have Hitoshi Shinso. He makes his entrance onto the stage. Our eyes lock, a tension building between us. "You're the boy with the inflated ego, aren't you?" Shinso's voice breaks the silence. "That's not ego, those are straight facts, cold hard truth," I retort, my confidence unwavering. Midnight watches us closely, her anticipation evident. With her command, "Fight," the battle begins. "You know I'm not a fan of you," Shinso mutters, trying to provoke a reaction. "Who said you had to be one?" I reply, my focus solely on the challenge ahead. A smirk tugs at the corner of Shinso's lips as he taunts me further. "Got you, and now walk out." I feel a strange force trying to immobilize me, but instead of succumbing to his expectations, I counteract the effect by fading out of existence momentarily. Shinso's expression shifts from confidence to shock, his words stumbling. "What? Why are you not going out?" Now free from whatever manipulation he attempted, I solidify once more and explain, "I don't know what you tried to pull off, but unlike other quirks, mine has a failsafe. If something goes wrong with my brain or body, my quirk automatically pulls me out of existence. So, whatever your quirk is, it won't work on me." With determination, I increase my mass, declaring, "Let's finish this." Swiftly, I charge towards him. His eyes widen in realization of his impending defeat as I close the distance, delivering a powerful blow that sends him flying and out of bounds. The crowd erupts into cheers as Midnight declares, "𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐴 wins this fight," her voice resounding triumphantly. As the adrenaline fades, I descend from the heightened energy of the battle, the victory sinking in. All the battle goes as shown in the anime. Now I'm stepping out once more as the call of Midnight echoes my name. Now for the second round, we have 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐴 versus 𝗀𝗱𝗃 Todoroki. Now we have 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐬𝐴 stepping onto the stage. As I ascend the platform, memories of my conversation with Endeavor resurface. "Hey boy, you with a quirk similar to All Might's, I want you to make 𝗀𝗱𝗃 use his fire. He was made to defeat All Might," Endeavor tells me. Responding, I assert, "Sure, I'll make him use his fire, but not for you. From the way you talk, you're the worst father." I stride away, pausing briefly to turn back and declare, "Don't expect your creation to defeat me, okay?" Unconcerned with Endeavor's expression, I proceed onto the stage where Todoroki awaits. Upon meeting him, I state, "Todoroki, if you want to win this, or even stand a chance against me, you'll need to use your fire." Todoroki hesitates and then utters, "I will never use his fire," as the fight commences. In an instant, I phase out of existence as Todoroki sends an ice attack my way. Its impact proves futile as I reshape the ice to fit my form and burst out, positioned in front of Todoroki. Repeating the process, I once again become intangible as he launches another ice attack. This cycle continues until he tires out. Midoriya interjects, his voice filled with conviction. "Todoroki, the fire you possess is uniquely yours, not a creation of Endeavor's influence. Picture a day when your fire burns so brilliantly that Endeavor can only marvel at your achievements. It's when you can confidently declare that this fire is truly yours, not just a product of his legacy. Imagine the moment when you stand as the number 2 hero, and he looks at you, expecting validation, but you tell him, 'This is not yours, you failed to shape me into this.' And then, you turn your back on him, not caring for his acknowledgement, making him finally realize that he never meant anything to you, what he thought he created wasn't meant to be. So, Todoroki, you should focus on string your fire." Todoroki's eyes widened as he envisioned a future where he finally stood his ground against his father, a triumphant smile forming as he imagined the shock on Endeavor's face when reality hit him. With a self-assured smirk, Todoroki replied, "You're absolutely right, Midoriya. That could be quite intriguing." Standing tall, Todoroki vaporizes the ice surrounding him. I phase out of existence once again as he propels his flames toward me. Initially, I regard the flames without concern, but as they make contact, a burning sensation engulfs my arm, akin to a part of me fading away. Instinctively, I increase my mass, and the feeling recedes. Addressing Todoroki, I remark, "Color me surprised. You actually managed to harm me." With determination, I leap towards him, delivering a punch that sends him out of bounds, quipping, "Let's envision your future with this newfound fire, shall we?" I then exit the stage confidently. As I approach the abundance of seats, Momo approaches me and warmly exclaims, "Congratulations on securing your second victory, Izuku." Her words initiate a conversation, and amidst our chat, I curiously inquire, "Come to think of it, when I was in that state of non-existence, Todoroki managed to actually inflict harm on me, which shouldn't be possible." Together, Momo and I engage in theorizing, although she predominantly leads the discussion due to my limited analytical abilities. Momo offers her insight, suggesting, "I think it's because in that non-existent state, you're either composed of light or energy. According to the equation E_mc²2 from Einstein's theory of relativity, you should exist in either of those states." Just as she explains this concept, her name is called, signaling her turn to participate. Regrettably, our conversation is cut short as she departs to take her place. In the sixth match of the finals at the 𝐸 Sports Festival, 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫 Tokoyami faced off against Momo Yaoyorozu. Present Mike introduced them to the crowd, creating a palpable sense of anticipation regarding the unfolding battle. Bakugo, known for his keen insight, emphasized the crucial role of timing in this matchup. Momo, renowned for her strategic thinking, meticulously planned her approach as she contemplated 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫's formidable abilities. However, the match began abruptly, catching Momo off guard. 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐵 wasted no time and commanded his quirk, Dark Shadow, to attack. Momo swiftly defended herself by acting a shield, but Dark Shadow circled back with remarkable speed and struck her shield before she could fully unleash her quirk. Dark Shadow continued its relentless assault, closing in ominously. In response, Momo reacted with lightning speed, extending her arm to form a protective shield. The Dark Shadow collided powerfully with her improvised defense. Using the force of this collision, she executed a graceful spin, her determination unwavering. During her rotation, she crafted a makeshift weapon, poised to strike at the elusive Dark Shadow. Nevertheless, Dark Shadow exhibited remarkable agility, bending and contorting its body to narrowly evade her attack. Momo soon realized that attempting to strike Dark Shadow directly was a futile endeavor, given its nimbleness, making it nearly impossible to land a blow. Instead, she shifted her focus to Tokoyami, who was observing the situation intently. Momo initiated a relentless pursuit of him, compelling Tokoyami to dodge her advances, inadvertently dragging Dark Shadow along with him. Momo persisted in her pursuit, displaying remarkable skill to stay just out of Tokoyami's reach. Tokoyami hesitated to strike her directly, fully aware of the pain it could cause. Consequently, he continually evaded her attacks, creating a mesmerizing dance of evasion and pursuit. After a prolonged exchange, Tokoyami grew weary of this game of cat and mouse. With unwavering determination, he pivoted and unleashed a powerful punch aimed at Momo. Reacting swiftly, Momo ducked beneath the attack, but Dark Shadow seized the opportunity to strike. Dark Shadow struck Momo with considerable force, disrupting her balance and sending her flying out of her attack zone. Stumbling slightly, she found herself on the defensive. Tokoyami seized this opportunity to switch to the offensive, and Dark Shadow launched a relentless assault. Determined not to let Momo escape as she had before, Tokoyami cornered her in a tight circle. Whenever she attempted to flee, Tokoyami and Dark Shadow were there to block her path, preventing her from evading their combined efforts. Unbeknownst to Momo, this relentless strategy pushed her closer and closer to the edge of the battle arena. In her concentrated efforts to outmaneuver Tokoyami and Dark Shadow, she failed to notice that she had been gradually pushed out of bounds, inching closer to defeat with each passing moment. The surprising turn of events left Momo defeated, and Midnight announced 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐵 as the winner. 𝐶𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐴, displaying respect, bowed to Momo before leaving the stage. Present Mike noted that it was another swift and overwhelming victory in the tournament. Momo, disappointed by her loss, regretted not being able to showcase her talents. Izuku realized that 𝐀𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫's strategy was to focus his attacks on Momo's shield to avoid causing her harm, demonstrating his strategic prowess and strength. As I stood there, waiting for Momo, a strange sense of unease settled over me. She was late, and that was unusual. I couldn't help but wonder where she might be. The anticipation gnawed at me until I decided to go in search of her. With each step I took, the hallways of the school seemed to stretch into an endless labyrinth. But eventually, I stumbled upon a quiet corridor, nestled close to classroom A. There, in that forgotten space, I found her, Momo Yaoyorozu. Few minutes before Momo Yaoyorozu sat alone in the dimly lit hallway outside the waiting room, her normally composed expression replaced by one of sullen introspection. The echoes of the crowd's cheers still rang in her ears, a painful reminder of her recent defeat in the third round of the sports festival. Tears streamed down her face, and her expression was one of pure distress. It was clear that something had deeply troubled her. How did I let this happen? She lamented, her head resting against the cold wall. I've trained so hard for this moment, and I fell short. Her quirk, the power to create objects from her own body fat, had always been her pride, but it had failed her when she needed it the most. The disappointment gnawed at her, and her thoughts became a whirlwind of self-criticism. I should have been faster, smarter, she berated herself. I should have anticipated his moves and countered them. Momo knew that she had the potential to excel, but her performance in the battle had left her feeling inadequate and sullen. She had let herself down, and the weight of that realization was heavy on her shoulders. I'm supposed to be a leader, she mumbled to herself, her voice barely audible in the empty hallway. But I couldn't even lead myself to victory. As she wallowed in her thoughts, the soft sound of footsteps approached. Momo glanced up and saw Izuku, a concerned and empathetic look in his eyes. She hadn't expected anyone to venture down this seemingly deserted hallway so soon. Tears streamed down her face, and her expression was one of pure distress. It was clear that something had deeply troubled her. I approached cautiously, and as I took that first step, the echo of my footfall shattered the silence. Momo jumped in shock, her eyes widening with disbelief. She hadn't expected anyone to venture down this seemingly deserted hallway so soon. "Hey, Izuku, what are you doing here?" Momo asked, hastily wiping her tears away. "You idiot," I replied, my concern for her overriding any other emotion. "I'm all alone in the classroom. Besides you, I don't talk to any of the other students." As I watched her, the realization of her isolation settled in, and she spoke softly, "Why do you associate with me and not the others?" "At first," I began, "I saw a appealing girl and thought, I need to talk to you. But as I got to know you, I started to enjoy being around you. All the other students are so dull. I'm pretty sure most of them are really scared of me and would rather avoid me." Momo nodded slowly, absorbing my words. "Who wouldn't want to be near you? You're the most powerful student in the class, and you're fun to be around with." I couldn't help but smile at her compliment, but I knew I had to be honest. "But that's what you think. To them, I'm anything but a classmate who has the strength to go up against All Might. I haven't even talked to the others at all. I come to school and then I spend the whole day talking to you. If you've noticed, because of me, you've made almost no friends." Momo's eyes widened in realization. "What? You're right. From the start, you and I have been together all the time." Our conversation continued, and I noticed that it was centered around me, while Momo mostly responded. I decided to steer it in a different direction. "Momo, I came here to console you, not to have a talk about me," I interjected gently. "But I'm fine," Momo replied, her gaze fixed on me. "No, you're not. The Momo I know would at least give me her input and not just talk about me. She would be responsible and guide me," I said, my voice filled with concern. "You think too highly of me," Momo said, her voice trembling slightly. "I think highly of you because you're the smartest student in the school with an amazing quirk," I reassured her. Momo's self-doubt crept in as she admitted, "What amazing quirk? I lost and didn't even get to show my full potential. I was just there, running around. I bet I looked like a fool." I couldn't bear to see her in such distress. I pulled her into a comforting hug and whispered, You did not look like a clown. You gave it your all out there, and that takes incredible courage. It's okay to feel disappointed, but remember, it doesn't define your worth. Momo's tears flowed freely and she confessed, I know. Sniffles, but I had trained so hard for this, Sniffles, and I thought I had a chance. I continued to offer words of encouragement. I can imagine how tough this must be for you. But sometimes, even when we give it everything we've got, things don't go our way. It's part of life's ups and downs. What's important is how you handle it and what you learn from this experience. Look at Bakugo. He has lost to me his whole life, but that didn't make him give up his dream. He struggled, and now he is one of the most powerful students. If I wasn't here, I bet he would win the whole thing. You should learn from Bakugo and not give up. Momo remained hesitant, her voice wavering as she said, but that's Bakugo and I am me. We are different people. I reinforced my belief in her, saying, yes, you are you, but what I am saying is that you shouldn't give up on yourself. Your quirk is amazing, and if you had made a gun and hit the nerves, you could apprehend many criminals without any fight. That's something no hero has done, and none will ever be able to do so. Momo's eyes sparkled with newfound determination as she realized her potential. She smiled through her tears and said, that's right, Izuku, I could do that. I can hit the pressure points and immobilize them. I held her closer and said, I just want you to know that whatever you do, I will always support you no matter what. Just then, a voice echoed through the school's speaker system, announcing, the winner is Kirishima from Class 1A. I think it's time to go back, I suggested, and Momo agreed, yes, your fight must be coming. Together, we made our way back to the main event, with a newfound understanding and determination to face the challenges ahead. P.S. I know this scene may not have been executed perfectly, but I've put a lot of thought into it. I even considered scrapping it altogether. However, it's crucial because, while Momo didn't suffer as severely as in the anime, this is her first defeat. Moreover, due to the fact that she didn't make any friends, because of Izuku there was no one else to comfort her. Therefore, it only makes sense for Izuku to step in because she is his only friend. By the way, he does care about Bakugo, but they don't really talk much. So, of course, he would notice Momo's distress and make the effort to console her. Now I step out onto the field, just having comforted Momo after her defeat, although I didn't help much. I couldn't help but wish that my match was second, not first. But we can't change the past, can we? I let out a sigh as I prepare for the battle ahead. I hear Midnight's voice announce the start of the third round of the battle. Now, onto the third round of the battle. We have the undefeated number 1 who got first in all the rounds, Izuku Midoriya, versus the new generation of hero, the brother of 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫, she says. I look at Ida as he gives me a polite nod and says, let's have a fair battle, Midoriya. I nod in agreement and reply, okay. After a brief moment, Midnight announces, now, fight. I watch as Ida comes at me with immense speed. I can't help but think that this is a tough matchup for him. His whole quirk is about speed, but what can he do when he faces an unmovable wall like me? As I predicted, he charges towards me and attempts to kick me, but just like in the hero versus villain battle, he ends up hitting himself. I look at him, and he's on guard, ready for any attack. I consider letting him hit me repeatedly since I can take it, but that wouldn't be fair to Ida. So, I decide it's time to get moving. I stop thinking and let my body act on instinct. Ida remained on guard, ready for Midoriya's next move. As he anticipated, Midoriya changed his mass and propelled himself forward. Midoriya launched himself towards Ida, altering his mass to become lighter as he hurtled across the arena. As he neared Ida, Midoriya once again adjusted his mass, attempting to punch Ida out of bounds. However, Ida, drawing from his experience with overwhelming speed, knew that individuals with exceptional speed could only move in straight lines. Attempting to change direction could result in injuries, such as a broken ankle. Swiftly, Ida sidestepped Midoriya's incoming attack, maneuvering to the other side of the arena. Ida attempted to catch Midoriya off guard once more, delivering a blow. This time, his attack had a different approach. He struck the back of Midoriya's knee, causing him to stumble and fall to the ground. Seizing this opportunity, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐻 tried to kick Midoriya while he was down. However, Midoriya evaded the kick by turning intangible, causing 𝐬𝐮's leg to pass through him. 𝐬𝐮, now on one leg with immense force behind him, was rapidly approaching the arena boundary. Fortunately for 𝐬𝐮, his one leg anchored him in place, turning him from facing the boundary to facing the arena. But luck soon abandoned him as Midoriya's hand emerged and pushed him beyond the boundary. Midnight declared, "Izuku Midoriya is the victor." Midoriya glanced at 𝐬𝐮, extending his hand. "It was quite a challenging matchup for you, 𝐬𝐮. My quirk effectively counters yours, but you still gave it your best." 𝐬𝐮 accepted the handshake, his expression reflecting a mix of respect and gratitude. "Thank you, Midoriya. You're right, it was indeed a tough match for me. However, I acknowledge your hard work and strength in getting here. Congratulations on your well-deserved victory." With those words, the two of them exited the arena, acknowledging the battle's outcome and showing respect for each other's efforts. 𝐬𝐮 walked back to the high school locker room, his head held high but his heart heavy. The cheers of the crowd still echoed in his ears, a reminder of the battle he had just lost. His opponent had been formidable, and 𝐬𝐮 couldn't deny that he had given it his all, but in the end he had fallen short. His brows furrowing in disappointment. "I should have been stronger." As he removed his hero costume and changed into his regular clothes, 𝐬𝐮 couldn't shake the feeling of defeat. The sports festival meant everything to him. It was a chance to prove himself, to show that he was worthy of being a hero, and to honor the ideals he held dear. What went wrong? He mused, running his fingers through his disheveled hair. Was it my strategy, my speed, or perhaps my judgment? The analytical side of 𝐬𝐮's mind took over as he replayed the match in his head, analyzing every move, every decision. He knew he needed to learn from this defeat, to identify his weaknesses and work tirelessly to overcome them. "I can't let this setback define me," he told himself firmly. "I will become stronger. I will train harder. I will rise above this." As he left the locker room, 𝐬𝐮 was greeted by the smiling faces of his friends, Uraraka and other of Class 1A. Their support meant the world to him, and he was grateful for their unwavering encouragement. "Hey, 𝐬𝐮," Uraraka said, clapping a hand on his shoulder. "You gave it your all out there. You'll bounce back stronger than ever." 𝐬𝐮 nodded, a determined gleam in his eyes. He knew his friends were right. This defeat was just a stepping stone on his path to becoming the hero he aspired to be. With renewed determination, he walked alongside his friends, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Yes, he thought, "I will become the hero I was meant to be." But just as he was about to take a step forward, his phone buzzed in his pocket. 𝐬𝐮's brows furrowed in curiosity as he retrieved his phone. It was an incoming call, and the name flashing on the screen sent a shiver down his spine. Unknown caller. With his heart pounding in his chest, 𝐬𝐮 retreated from his battle stance and answered the call. His voice was cautious as he spoke, "Hello." A deep, solemn voice on the other end of the line responded, "Is this Tenya 𝐬𝐮?" 𝐬𝐮's curiosity turned to suspicion. "Who's asking?" The voice continued, "My name is Detective Nakamura. I'm with the Mizudafu City Police Department. I have some urgent information that concerns your family." 𝐬𝐮's heart skipped a beat. "Family? What could be so urgent?" "Go on," he replied, his voice trembling. Detective Nakamura cleared his throat before delivering the news that would change 𝐬𝐮's world forever. "I'm sorry to inform you that your older brother, Tensei 𝐬𝐮, who works as a pro hero, has been attacked by someone with a quirk. They call him the Hero Killer." 𝐬𝐮's legs felt weak, and he sank to the ground, phone still pressed to his ear. The Hero Killer. His brother, a pro hero, had been targeted by this merciless villain. "Tensei," 𝐬𝐮 whispered, his voice barely audible. Detective Nakamura's voice remained steady. "Your brother is in stable condition, but his injuries are severe. He's currently receiving medical treatment. We thought it was important to inform you as soon as possible." 𝐬𝐮's eyes welled with tears, and he clenched his phone tightly. "Thank you for letting me know. I need to see him." Detective Nakamura provided 𝐬𝐮 with the hospital details and assured him that they were doing everything they could to apprehend the Hero Killer. The call ended, and 𝐻𝐿𝐮 sat there for a moment, absorbing the gravity of the news. The hero killer was out there, and his brother's life had been forever changed by the encounter. He took a deep breath, wiping away his tears, and stood up. Resolute and focused, 𝐻𝐿𝐮 knew that his path as a hero had taken on a new significance. He would honor his family's legacy, protect the innocent, and bring justice to those who needed it most, all while carrying the weight of his brother's sacrifice. As 𝐻𝐿𝐮 walked away from the arena, lost in his thoughts and determination, Uraraka watched from a distance. Her concern for him was evident in her eyes, but she chose to remain silent, allowing him the space he needed to process the news and prepare for the challenges that lay ahead. The arena was electric with anticipation as Katsuki Bakugo and Izuku Midoriya, their eyes locked in a fierce rivalry, prepared to face off. The crowd knew they were about to witness an epic battle between two of 𝐻𝐼's most talented students. Bakugo's palms crackled with explosive energy as he clenched his fists. The referee raised a hand, signaling the start of the match. As Bakugo lunged forward, detonating explosions beneath his feet to close the distance, Midoriya activated his quirk, his body becoming denser and more massive. Bakugo's fiery blasts struck Midoriya with tremendous impact, but he stood firm, absorbing the explosive force. Midoriya spoke through gritted teeth, "You've gotten stronger, Katsuki." Bakugo scowled, "Don't think you can just tank my attacks, Izuku." The exchange continued as Bakugo focused his explosive energy. But suddenly Bakugo, with a smirk, launches into the air, his hand erupting in flames as he executed the meteoric descent. He spiraled downward, creating a comet-like effect. Midoriya, with his unyielding form, found himself unprepared for Bakugo's sudden assault. Despite his mastery over mass manipulation, he couldn't react swiftly enough to alter his weight and withstand Bakugo's explosive onslaught. The resounding impact of Bakugo's landing echoed throughout the arena, propelling Midoriya through the air and causing him to skid uncontrollably along the ground. As Midoriya struggled to regain his footing, Bakugo landed with a determined look in his eyes. He shouted, "You can't just bulk up and expect to win, Izuku." Midoriya, his unwavering resolve propelling him upright, displayed a unique blend of determination and exhaustion in his expression. As he gathered his thoughts, he couldn't help but reflect, "He has certainly grown stronger, and he's pinpointed my weakness with my slow reaction speed. But I want to see just how far he can take this challenge, even though I should put an end to it before my skin sustains any more damage." While the intense match continued, Bakugo's explosive attacks dazzled in the daylight, creating a spectacular display that had the audience at the edge of their seats. Izuku remained acutely aware of the need to maintain his concentration, even in the face of Bakugo's unrelenting onslaught of explosions. Bakugo leaped into the air, creating a blinding trail of fiery sparks. He aimed a powerful impact grenade directly at Izuku. Thinking quickly, Izuku increased his mass, becoming denser and more resistant to the explosion's impact. The force of the explosion sent shockwaves through the arena, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Izuku seized the opportunity, charging forward with strength in his arm. He swung a heavy punch, but Bakugo managed to dodge with his remarkable agility. Bakugo retaliated with a point-blank explosion, sending Izuku staggering backward. Gritting his teeth, Izuku focused his attention on harnessing his power. He knew he couldn't afford to exert too much force and risk the dire consequences. Sensing Izuku's struggle, Bakugo opted for a tactical shift. It unleashed a rapid barrage of stun grenades, each detonation producing blinding flashes of light that temporarily disoriented Izuku, leaving him in a momentary state of vulnerability. Izuku stumbled, his vision blurred, but he refused to succumb to the disorientation. He relied on his remaining senses, listening carefully to locate Bakugo. Just as Bakugo charged forward with an explosion at his back, Izuku swiftly sidestepped and seized Bakugo's outstretched arm, harnessing his increased mass to anchor Bakugo firmly to the ground. Bakugo fought fiercely to break free, but Izuku's grip remained unyielding. Bakugo's frustration intensified as he strained to escape Izuku's grasp. In a surge of fiery determination, he unleashed his signature move, the 𝗛𝐿𝐼. With a deafening explosion, 𝐻𝐿𝐼 sent a swirling vortex of flames roaring from his palms. The inferno cyclone spun around them, forming a searing wall of fire that loomed menacingly, threatening to engulf Izuku. Izuku held on, his mass still increased, but the scorching heat from the inferno cyclone began to wear him down. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead as he gritted his teeth, refusing to give in. The audience watched in awe as the battle reached an unprecedented level of intensity. 𝐻𝐿𝐼, relentless as ever, used the distraction of the inferno cyclone to his advantage. He aimed a powerful explosive dash at Izuku, who managed to dodge at the last moment. The explosion sent shockwaves through the fiery cyclone, intensifying the blaze and making it even more challenging for Izuku to maintain his grip. Just when it seemed like 𝐻𝐿𝐼 had the upper hand, Izuku made a daring move, paying no heed to the toll it took on his skin. He utilized his increased mass to anchor himself firmly to the ground, preventing the explosive cyclone from pushing him any further. Sensing an opportunity amidst the chaos, he surged forward with a burst of strength, breaking free from 𝐻𝐿𝐼's explosion. He attempted to seize 𝐻𝐿𝐼's arm, but 𝐻𝐿𝐼 quickly countered. Drawing inspiration from the fiery battle around them, 𝐻𝐿𝐼 executed a maneuver of his own, one he dubbed the blazing fist uppercut. As Midoriya reached for him, 𝐻𝐿𝐼's right fist ignited with a massive explosive power. He aimed his fiery uppercut at Izuku, the explosion creating a shockwave that rocked the arena. The sheer force of the blow sent Midoriya soaring into the air. The crowd watched in sheer amazement as Midoriya, caught off guard, fought to regain his composure while suspended in midair. His thoughts raced. This is the largest explosion I've seen 𝐻𝐿𝐼 make, and he was nearing his limit. I could sense that 𝐻𝐿𝐼's next attack was going to be the last one of this battle. 𝐻𝐿𝐼, however, wasn't finished. He propelled himself skyward, his body enveloped in a scorching aura of explosive energy. 𝐻𝐿𝐼 channeled the intense heat and energy of the blazing fist uppercut into his arm, transforming it into a scorching weapon of unparalleled power. As he soared through the air, propelled by controlled explosions from his palms, his unrelenting gaze locked onto Midoriya's vulnerable form. The arena fell into a hushed silence, everyone realizing that this moment could define the outcome of the battle. With unwavering determination, 𝐻𝐿𝐼 executed his signature move, Rising Inferno. Flames erupted from his entire body as he ascended toward Midoriya. Spiraling like a fiery cyclone, he surrounded himself with a controlled storm of explosions. Midoriya, still suspended and unable to maneuver freely, wore a smirk on his face as 𝐻𝐿𝐼 closed the distance. Rapidly increasing his mass, he prepared for what was to come. The sheer power and intensity of 𝐻𝐿𝐼's Rising Inferno were indeed overwhelming. 𝐻𝐿𝐼's voice reverberated through the arena, a blend of rivalry and determination in every word. This is the end, Izuku. At the pinnacle of his ascent, 𝐻𝐿𝐼 unleashed a final, devastating explosion. The shockwave rippled through the air, creating a fiery vortex that engulfed him. It was a force that demanded respect, a testament to his unwavering pursuit of victory. With precision and impeccable timing, 𝐻𝐿𝐼 directed the explosive force toward Midoriya's suspended form. The impact was colossal, sending shockwaves reverberating throughout the arena. Dust and debris filled the air as spectators watched in awe. As the dust gradually settled, the arena fell silent once more. Midoriya, battered but not broken, had employed his quirk's mass manipulation to shield himself from the full brunt of 𝐻𝐿𝐼's attack. He hung in the air, bruised and battered, but his determination remained resolute. 𝐻𝐿𝐼 landed on the ground, his breaths heavy, his fiery aura slowly subsiding. The crowd erupted into thunderous applause, recognizing the incredible power and unwavering resolve displayed by these young heroes. Izuku approached 𝐻𝐿𝐼, a wry smile on his face. That was a testament to your power, Katsuki. You've left bruises and burns all across my skin. He chuckled softly, his smirk widening, and you're the only one who's managed to damage me to this extent. Not even the Nomu could do that. 𝐻𝐿𝐼 heaved a defeated sigh, his shoulders slumping. How much damage I do doesn't matter in the end, does it? All my life, I couldn't defeat you. I tried my hardest, pushed myself to the limit, but I still couldn't. Izuku looked at Bakugo, his gaze filled with understanding and encouragement. To tell you the truth, I consider you a true threat among all the people in class 1, heck, even the entire school. He paused for a moment, then added with a determined tone, "Oh, and your last attack. It inspired me. So I'm going to try something similar. Stay safe." With unwavering determination burning in his eyes, Midoriya activated his quirk. His body underwent a remarkable transformation, growing denser with each passing second. The crowd watched in astonishment as he increased his mass to a level he deemed sufficient. Then, in a sudden burst of power, Midoriya propelled himself into the sky, leaving behind a trail of sonic booms in his wake. His augmented mass allowed him to reach an astonishing altitude. From that vantage point, he peered down at the arena, now appearing as a mere speck in the distance. In a bold and audacious move, Midoriya skillfully reduced his mass, allowing him to hover momentarily in the air. From this elevated position, he watched as the arena and the crowd below shrank further into the distance. With unwavering resolve, he took a deep breath and increased his mass once more, pushing his power to the absolute limit. Midoriya descended like a meteor, hurtling toward the arena ground at a velocity beyond imagination. The sheer force of his descent sent shockwaves rippling through the stadium, causing the very ground to tremble in anticipation of the impending impact. As he drew nearer to the arena, Midoriya focused his power with pinpoint accuracy, targeting a specific spot on the ground below. With an earth-shattering crash, he made contact, and the arena erupted in a cataclysmic display of devastation. Dust and debris filled the air, obscuring the arena from view as the crowd watched in awe and disbelief. Amidst the chaos, Bakugo was pushed beyond the boundaries of the arena, unable to withstand the tremendous force of Midoriya's attack. The once proud battleground had been reduced to ruins. Emerging from the depths of the crater, Midoriya climbed out, his body battered but his indomitable spirit unwavering. His presence commanded the attention of everyone present. Midnight, the announcer, stepped forward, her voice resonating throughout the arena. "Ladies and gentlemen, what you have just witnessed is nothing short of extraordinary. A new force has emerged, a level of power that defies imagination. I present to you, Izuku Midoriya, the victor of this incredible battle." Izuku Midoriya had just concluded a grueling battle against Bakugo in the sports festival, though he hadn't exerted himself fully. However, something surprising occurred. As he walked through the bustling hallways, his steps grew increasingly labored, and he could feel his body freezing up. He hadn't utilized his quirk to its fullest potential during the battle, but even the moderate use had taken a toll on him. The physical strain was beginning to manifest, and he could no longer move freely. Frustration and pain contorted Izuku's face as he clenched his fists. He realized he couldn't continue walking. His muscles rebelled, and his limbs felt as though they were encased in ice. Each step became a battle, and he was losing. As he pondered his situation, he softly murmured to himself, "Ever since I came to you, I've been using my quirk more frequently, changing my mass on the fly, shifting between light and heavy. It's been a crucial part of my hero training. But maybe I've been pushing it too far." He closed his eyes, analyzing the situation. My body wasn't able to adapt to the constant changes in mass. That's why it froze up like that. It became too tense, too strained to keep up. Izuku sighed, acknowledging his own role in the predicament. "I need to be more mindful of my limits, even in high-pressure situations like the sports festival. Pushing my mass too hard to any extreme could have serious consequences on my body." As Momo Yaoyorozu approached Izuku, she noticed his distress and rushed to his side. "Izuku, what's going on? Are you hurt?" Izuku managed to gasp out an explanation between strained breaths, describing how overusing and rapidly changing a fundamental aspect of his existence had caused his body to react poorly to this moderate strain. Momo's eyes widened with concern, realizing the gravity of the situation. "We need to find help. Let's get you to the infirmary." However, Izuku calmly responded, "This will go away after a few hours. It's just my body being tense and unresponsive because it wasn't able to adapt." I just have to take better care of myself, even in the midst of all this hero training. With Momo's assistance, Izuku stood up, waiting for his body to fully recover. In that moment, he made a silent promise to himself. He would learn from this experience and become a better hero, one who not only protected others but also took care of his own well-being. As he lay there, his body slowly recovering, Izuku couldn't help but feel frustrated at his own limitations. This experience served as a stark reminder that even when he held back, the physical strain of his quirk could still catch up with him, and he needed to be more cautious in the future, a lesson that humbled his prideful but not arrogant personality. After a few hours, All Might's booming voice filled the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to honor the remarkable performance of these young heroes in our arena today. He raised the third-place medal and continued. In third place, demonstrating exceptional skill and determination, we have the shadowy and enigmatic 𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿. 𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿 stepped forward, a sense of pride in his eyes despite his reserved demeanor. All Might placed the medal around his neck, and 𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿 nodded respectfully, acknowledging the honor. "All right, 𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿," All Might exclaimed. "Your mastery over Dark Shadow is truly impressive." Turning to the second-place medal, All Might continued. In second place, showing incredible power and tenacity, we have the explosive 𝗀𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿. 𝗀𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿, his usual fiery spirit slightly tempered by his recent defeat, accepted the medal from All Might. He spoke with maturity. "I'll learn from this and come back stronger next time." All Might nodded, his respect evident. "That's the spirit, 𝗀𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿. Your determination will take you far." Finally, All Might raised the first-place medal, shining brilliantly in the sunlight, and turned his gaze toward Midoriya. And in first place, the undisputed champion of today's battle, the indomitable Izuku Midoriya. Izuku approached All Might, his pride and self-assuredness radiating from him as the symbol of peace placed the medal around his neck. "Thank you, All Might," he said, his voice filled with confidence. All Might leaned down, his voice filled with pride. "You've come a long way, young Midoriya, and your growth as a hero is truly remarkable." Izuku met All Might's gaze, a hint of playful aloofness in his eyes. "I'm just getting started," he replied with a smile, embodying the spirit of a hero ready for new challenges. All Might grinned, patting Izuku's shoulder. "I have no doubt you'll continue to shine, my boy. Now, let's celebrate your victory and the incredible potential of all our young heroes." The crowd erupted in cheers as All Might, 𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿, 𝗀𝗀𝐻𝐻𝐿, and Midoriya stood united in their pursuit of heroism. Izuku had spent a delightful afternoon with Momo Yaoyorozu, exploring the city's park and discussing their recent internship experiences. It was a rare moment of respite for the young heroes in training, free from the constant rigors of their training. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Izuku realized he had lost track of time. He glanced at his watch and exclaimed, "Oh no, it's much later than I thought. I need to get home." Momo nodded with a warm smile. "Of course, Izuku. It was a pleasure spending time with you today. We should do this again sometime." "Definitely," Izuku replied, genuinely appreciative of the company. With a final wave, he dashed off towards home, eager to share the excitement of the sports festival with his mother and show her the medal he had won. However, when he arrived home, he was met with an eerie silence. His mother, Inko Midoriya, was nowhere to be seen. Panic welled up inside him as he searched the apartment, his heart pounding. Izuku couldn't help but think about the sports festival. "You know, I wanted to show my mom the medal I won at the festival. She'd be so proud." He sighed, hoping she would return soon. However, as minutes turned into hours, concern gnawed at him. Where could his mother be, and why had she left without a word? And finally, his gaze fell upon a mysterious note placed prominently on the kitchen table. He picked it up and read the message. "If you ever want to see your mother again, listen carefully. She's in our custody, safe for now, but her fate depends on you. Come to Hosu Park, alone at midnight. You'll find her unharmed if you follow our instructions to the letter. Do not involve the authorities or any heroes, or your mother's life will be in grave danger. Remember, you have until midnight. If you're late or attempt any tricks, the consequences will be dire. Come alone, and come quietly if you want her to be released unharmed. Sincerely, the one who holds your mother's fate. P.S. Here are some of the moves 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 used. Blazing Fist Uppercut. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 coats his fist with an explosive sheen and delivers a powerful uppercut. The resulting explosion propels his opponent into the air, leaving them vulnerable for a follow-up attack. Inferno Cyclone. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 surrounds himself with a rotating cyclone of controlled explosions. Charges at his opponents, they find it nearly impossible to defend against the constant barrage of explosive shocks and shrapnel. Meteoric Descent. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 leaps high into the sky, saturating himself with explosive sweat. As he descends, he spirals downward, creating a comet-like effect. Upon impact, he releases a point-blank explosion, creating a fiery crater and devastating his target. Rising Inferno. 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿 leaps into the air and surrounds himself with a spiral of controlled explosions. As he descends, he can rain down a continuous barrage of explosive attacks on his opponents, making it challenging for them to escape the onslaught. Some weakness of 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐿 muscle fatigue. When he changes his mass, his muscles might experience strain and fatigue, especially if he makes rapid or extreme changes. Physical stress. The stress on his joints and skeletal structure could lead to discomfort or even injury, especially if he frequently uses his power. Recovery time. After using his power extensively, 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐿 may need significant recovery time to allow his body to heal and reset, making him vulnerable during these PRDS. A few days before UA Sport Festival in the dimly lit chamber, Shigaraki paced with a controlled restlessness. His gloved hands, usually a symbol of his destructive nature, were surprisingly still. At the head of the room, cloaked in shadows, the enigmatic figure known as 𝐿 observed his protégé's demeanor with the air of a revered mentor. "Sensei," Shigaraki began, his voice carrying a hint of deference, but with a touch of his characteristic man-child-like petulance, "I can't help but, think about the USJ thing that happened a while back. It's, kinda crazy how this one kid messed up our super awesome plans." 𝐿 responded with his characteristic calm and wisdom. "Patience, Tamura," he counseled, his voice a soothing presence. "Setbacks are a part of life, even for us. Please, tell me what went down." The frustration that once dominated Shigaraki's voice now had a more petulant undertone. "Yeah, so, we made this 𝐻𝐿 thingy to take on All Might, right? But then, out of nowhere, this white-haired kid showed up and totally wrecked our party. Not cool." 𝐿 nodded thoughtfully from the shadows. "You speak of the boy with the remarkable mass-changing quirk, young 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐿 Midoriya, do you not?" Shigaraki nodded, his demeanor still respectful but with his signature man-child vibe. "Yeah, sensei, that's the dude. It's like he had some kind of cheat code or something, totally ruining our fun." A subtle, enigmatic smile graced 𝐿 lips. "Resourcefulness is an interesting trait," he commented. "And it's clear that young Midoriya's got it." Shigaraki couldn't help but nod in agreement, although his tone still carried a hint of his usual childlike petulance. "Yeah, he's resourceful, I guess. But he's still a major pain in the neck, 𝐿 leaned in, his voice dripping with malevolence as he spoke about 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐿's connections. "According to my sources, he's tightly bound to Momo, 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿's family, and even his own mother. These connections make him a persistent thorn in our side." A sinister gleam flickered in 𝐿 concealed eyes as he continued, "But remember, Tamura, attachments can also be exploited to our advantage. We'll find a way to use them against him." Shigaraki's respect for his mentor was still evident, even with his man-child-like demeanor. "Your wisdom, sensei, gives me some comfort, I guess. We'll team up and make sure this kid doesn't mess with our totally awesome plans." In the dim chamber, the two villains shared a bond founded on respect and a hint of man-child-like frustration from Shigaraki. As they continued to discuss the USJ incident and plot their next move, their determination remained unwavering, a resolve to deal with the annoyance that was 𝐒𝐮𝐻𝐿 Midoriya and make sure their evil schemes went off without a hitch. In the depths of their clandestine lair, 𝐿 sat in conversation with the doctor, the mastermind behind many of their most advanced quirk experiments. The room was filled with eerie equipment and humming machinery, casting an otherworldly glow on their faces as they spoke. Doctor, all for one began, his voice a low rumble. Tell me more about this young boy Izuku. I've heard intriguing information about his quirk. All for one nodded regally, granting his subordinate permission to continue. The doctor leaned forward, a gleam of excitement in his eyes. Ah yes, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵. His quirk is nothing short of astonishing. It defies conventional physics and our understanding of the quirk phenomenon itself. All for one's interest was piqued. Go on. The doctor continued, his words charged with enthusiasm. Izuku possesses a quirk that allows him to manipulate his own mass at will. He can change the weight of his own body, becoming as light as a feather or as heavy as a mountain with a mere thought. All for one leaned back, contemplating the implications. That's quite the power, Doctor. But what sets it apart from other quirks? The doctor's voice took on an almost reverent tone. It's the precision, Mr. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵 has honed his ability to an extraordinary degree. He can adjust his mass selectively, defying the laws of physics. For example, he can make himself light as air to leap incredible distances, and then instantly increase his mass to strike with tremendous force. It's as if he's mastered the very essence of his own body. All for one's eyes gleamed with intrigue. Indeed, it is quite intriguing. But how has he managed to master such a formidable power? The doctor leaned in closer, offering his hypothesis in a hypnotic tone. I believe Izuku possesses an unmatched determination. He must have invested countless hours into training and meticulously refining his control over his quirk. This dedication has likely led to a profound comprehension of the intricacies of his own biology, granting him the extraordinary ability to manipulate his mass at a cellular level. It's as though he has ascended to the status of a true emperor over his very existence. Although none of it is true, all for one couldn't help but smile beneath his mask. It seems young 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵 is a true anomaly. A quirk that challenges the limits of his own body and a will to match it. He may prove to be a valuable addition to our arsenal, Doctor. The doctor nodded, his excitement unabated. Indeed, Mr. With the power and potential of Izuku's quirk, there's no telling what he can achieve. He possesses a unique mastery over his own physicality that sets him apart from any other quirk user we've encountered. As the conversation continued, all for one and the doctor delved deeper into the mysteries of 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵's unique quirk, their sinister plans beginning to take shape around this newfound source of power that defied the very laws of physics. It was a bright morning at UA High, and Class 1A was abuzz with excitement as their teacher, Aizawa-sensei, began the day's lessons. Among the students, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵 sat quietly, his thoughts consumed by the secret he was carrying. Momo Yaoyorozu, his close friend and seatmate, noticed the change in his behavior. During the morning lectures, she couldn't help but steal concerned glances at him. Izuku seemed distant, lost in thought, and his responses were brief and distant when she attempted to engage him. As the day progressed, Momo couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply troubling Izuku. During their lunch break, she decided to address the issue more directly. She approached him in the courtyard where he sat, staring at his untouched bento. Izuku, Momo began softly, is everything okay? You've been quiet all day, and I can tell something's bothering you. Izuku hesitated, his eyes darting around as he searched for an excuse. Oh Momo, it's just, I had a rough night, you know. Didn't get much sleep and I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Momo furrowed her brow, concerned. Are you sure you're okay? Maybe you should see recovery girl. Izuku quickly shook his head. No, it's not that bad really. Just need some rest. Momo accepted his explanation, though not without lingering concern. All right, Izuku. But if you ever need to talk or if there's anything I can do to help, don't hesitate to ask. Izuku managed a small smile, grateful for her understanding. Thanks, Momo. I appreciate it. Throughout the day, Izuku continued to offer vague excuses for his behavior. When asked about his lack of participation in class discussions or his distant demeanor, he blamed it on fatigue, stress, or a lingering headache. As the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school day, Momo approached Izuku once more. Izuku, I hope you start feeling better soon. Remember, you can always rely on your friends. Izuku nodded, his gratitude evident. I know, Momo. Thanks for being there. As the school day ended, Izuku and Momo made their way to the room where they would choose their hero agencies for their upcoming internships. Izuku still carried the weight of his secret, determined to keep it hidden even from Momo. Inside the room, a large board displayed the various agencies available for internship placements. The students gathered around, each contemplating their choices carefully. Momo scanned the list with a sense of determination, her eyes landing on the names of some prestigious and well-known agencies. Izuku, on the other hand, approached the board hesitantly. He couldn't afford to choose an agency too far from location, not with his mother's safety at stake. His finger hovered over several options before settling on a local agency with a strong record of community service. Momo noticed his choice and approached him with a gentle smile. Izuku, it looks like you've made your decision. That's great. Which agency did you choose? Izuku hesitated for a moment before responding, his tone carefully chosen. I decided to go with a local agency. I believe they do important work in our community, and I want to contribute to that. Momo nodded, impressed by his dedication to community service. That's a noble choice, Izuku. I'm sure you'll make a big impact there. Izuku offered a small smile in return, relieved that his excuse had been accepted. Thanks, Momo. What about you? Did you make your choice? Momo's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm as she replied, Yes, I did. I've decided to intern at 𝐀𝐮𝐬𝐿. They have a reputation for innovation and heroics, and I want to challenge myself and learn from the best. Izuku nodded, genuinely happy for his friend's determination. That's fantastic, Momo. I have no doubt you'll excel there. As they submitted their choices, the weight of their decisions lingered in the air. Izuku had chosen a local agency to stay close to home and protect his family, while Momo had opted for a prestigious agency to push her limits and grow as a hero. They left the room together, their paths diverging but their friendship unwavering. Izuku knew that his secret would continue to be a heavy burden, but he was willing to bear it to keep his mother safe. Momo, on the other hand, was determined to forge her own path and make the most of her internship at 𝐀𝐮𝐬𝐿. At the start of the internship, the bustling city of Tokyo stretched beneath her as 𝐻𝐼rozu stood at the entrance of 𝐀𝐮𝐬𝐿's hero agency. Her heart raced with anticipation. This was her chance to prove herself to a top pro hero, to learn from one of the best in the business. As the elevator carried her to the top floor, she couldn't help but tremble with excitement. The doors slid open, revealing her destination, but before she could step out, something unexpected happened. Kunai blades whizzed through the air, aimed directly at her face. Reacting on instinct, 𝐻𝐼rozu swiftly ducked, narrowly avoiding the deadly projectiles. One of the kunai embedded itself into the elevator wall. She scanned the room to find a cloaked figure charging toward her, katana gleaming ominously. In a whirlwind of movements, she rolled to evade the first swing of the assailant's katana. The cloaked figure, undeterred, continued the attack relentlessly. 𝐻𝐼rozu danced on the edge of danger, barely dodging each lethal strike. Desperation filled her as she realized she had run out of room to maneuver. In a last-ditch effort, she summoned a shield, a creation born of her quirk, just in time to block a vicious kick from her adversary. The impact sent her sprawling to the ground. Backed against the wall, her mind raced, panic threatening to consume her. What could she do? What could she create to turn the tide? Before she could answer her own questions, the cloaked figure pinned her to the ground, a cold blade hovering millimeters from her face. It seems you have more to learn than I thought, a voice echoed beneath the cloak. 𝐻𝐼rozu opened her eyes, her heart pounding as the figure removed the hood to reveal the pro hero 𝐻𝐻𝗏. He sheathed his katana and offered her a hand. Alright, come on. Let's have some tea. 𝐻𝐼rozu was left standing, dazed and bewildered, as 𝐻𝐻𝗏 walked away, seemingly unfazed by the intense encounter. She couldn't shake the feeling that her first impression had been less than ideal. In a room with classic Japanese-style decor, 𝐻𝐼rozu sat across from 𝐻𝐻𝗏, who poured tea for both of them. She couldn't help but wonder why he had attacked her so suddenly and violently. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I attacked you, 𝐻𝐶 began, his voice calm. Well, it actually relates to why I decided to recruit you. But I didn't perform well at all, Yaoyorozu admitted, still perplexed. Exactly, 𝐻𝐶 replied. What I saw out there was a girl with mountains of amazing potential. Although she picked herself back up after being pushed down, she cracked under pressure. I attacked you to see how you would react in a sudden crisis situation. Yaoyorozu listened intently, her curiosity growing. Clearly, it didn't pan out too well, 𝐻𝐶 continued. But that's why I'm here. I want to help you. Yaoyorozu couldn't hide her surprise. You want to help me? I am a pro-hero after all, 𝐻𝐶 said with a hint of a smile. It's kind of what I do. From your grades, I can tell you're a smart girl. Tell me, do you know what a shinobi is? Yaoyorozu nodded. Yes, you are a ninja. Correct, 𝐻𝐶 acknowledged. But a shinobi is much more than someone who can hide in the shadows and wield a sword, although that is quite impressive. With a swift motion, 𝐻𝐶 pulled a small kunai from his belt and tossed it above his head. Yaoyorozu's eyes widened, but she watched in amazement as the blade narrowly missed him, falling to the floor with precision. A shinobi is mentally disciplined, 𝐻𝐶 explained. No matter the stakes, the pressure, or the foe, a shinobi never panics. If they panic, they have already lost. They must keep a level head at all times, even at death's door. That is your first lesson for the... It was time for the next lesson, and 𝐻𝐶 was impressed. Yaoyorozu stood against the wall, an outline of shurikens surrounding her. She seemed a bit scared, but the flinching had reduced significantly from an hour ago. After about 5 shurikens, she appeared to get the hang of it. Good, 𝐻𝐶 acknowledged. Momo eased herself off the wall, being careful not to touch the blades. She walked to the center of the room and faced 𝐻𝐶. Change into your hero costume. We need to work on your quick thinking in combat, 𝐻𝐶 instructed. Yes, sir, Momo replied. He watched as Momo went to her briefcase, pulling out her hero attire, a highly revealing unitard, a belt, boots, and not much else. Okay, never mind, 𝐻𝐶 sighed. I don't want to end up with false accusations like 𝗀𝗏𝐾𝐻 did last year. I'll just put on some workout gear or something. Yaoyorozu left the room with her suitcases and returned wearing a green sports tank top, black joggers, and white tennis shoes. Much better. Now, bend your knees a bit but keep them firm, and keep your elbows up with your dimini hand near your face, 𝐻𝐶 instructed. Momo followed his directions. Your quirk has a lot to do with the body, which means you've probably studied it. What do you know about pressure points? Not very much, sensei, Momo replied. Alright then. The easiest pressure point to attack is the groin, 𝐻𝐶 explained. Momo chuckled. I wonder how Midoriya is doing with his training, she said. Several hours later, in Tokyo, Momo's body was throbbing. 𝐻𝐶 believed it was essential to have all the pressure points tested on her to help her understand their locations. She couldn't deny it was helpful, but it was currently midnight, and they had been training for 9 hours straight. They had gone over multiple hand-to-hand exercises, from ninjutsu to weapons to stealth. It felt weird not being able to hear her own footsteps now. The last part of their training was defense against weapon attacks. Yaoyorozu caught 𝐻𝐶's blade between her palms, pushing against him. Good, very good, 𝐻𝐶 praised. Now what's next? Yaoyorozu faltered for a moment before suggesting, a headbutt. No, hit the Dubai pressure points, 𝐻𝐶 corrected. The next thing Momo knew, she was on the ground, a hand to her throat. You've improved your reaction time, but after that, you completely fell apart, 𝐻𝐶 observed. We're done for the day. Go take a shower. Your room is down the hall and to the left. When you're done, come back here. Yaoyorozu bowed and replied, Yes, sensei. Momo walked to her room, feeling dejected. Every combat exercise, she would crash and burn after making her first move. Every plan she formulated in her head would be second-guessed, and she'd attempt to come up with a new one. That was my first chance to prove myself, and I messed it all up. I need to do better, she thought. During the week, she found her room, peeled off her sweat-soaked clothes, and hopped into the shower. As she entered the room, she saw 𝐻𝐶 dressed in a dark gray yukata. He still wore his mask. "Do you really like wearing that mask?" she asked. 𝐻𝐶 chuckled. "No reason in particular. By the way, does Midoriya have white hair and blue eyes?" "Yes," Yaoyorozu replied, confused. 𝐻𝐶 continued to chuckle as he left her with that enigmatic statement. Yaoyorozu absorbed the lesson, realizing the depth of what she had signed up for. Days turned into nights, and Yaoyorozu's training under 𝐻𝐶 continued. They covered hand-to-hand combat, ninjutsu, and pressure points. Each day brought new challenges, but Yaoyorozu was determined to improve. On one occasion, she found herself standing against the wall, surrounded by an array of shurikens. 𝐻𝐶 had instructed her to stay calm, to focus on herself, and to trust that she wouldn't get hit. With each shuriken that whizzed past her, she felt her fear slowly subside, replaced by newfound confidence. As the days passed, Yaoyorozu's progress was evident. She was becoming proficient in the techniques 𝐻𝐶 had been teaching her. But despite her improvement, she still felt the weight of her own expectations and the longing to prove herself. One evening, after an exhausting day of training, Yaoyorozu's frustration reached its peak. She called Izuku, her voice laced with anger and self-doubt. "Izuku," she began, "I messed up again today. I feel like I'm wasting 𝐻𝐶's time. I want to be better, to prove myself." Izuku, on the other end of the call, listened patiently. "Momo," he said, "you are improving, but you're being too hard on yourself. Remember, you worked hard to get here, just like everyone else. You deserve this opportunity." Their conversation continued, with Momo venting her frustrations and Izuku providing a comforting presence. Momo shared her insecurities and Izuku talked to comfort her and hoping to give Momo a drive to overcome them. One evening, as Yaoyorozu stood in the training room, 𝐻𝐶 approached her with a thoughtful expression. "Yaoyorozu," he began, "what was it that you drew confidence from during your first lesson?" She blushed, recalling her inspiration. "My friend, Izuku." 𝐻𝐶 nodded approvingly. "Continue to draw from him. He seems to work for you. But remember, you can't rely on others for confidence forever. Someday, you'll need to find that strength within yourself." With that, they resumed their training, with Yaoyorozu focusing on her growth, fueled by the lessons she had learned and the support of her friend Izuku. The third day of their internships began. 𝐻𝐶 and Yaoyorozu sat in a private hero train cabin, quietly eating their lunch. They were en route to Hasu City, and the second day of the internship had been surprisingly productive for Yaoyorozu. Her combat skills had improved, but her quick thinking and confidence still lagged behind. 𝐻𝐶 had a unique way of training her. He would spring sudden ambushes at random times during the day, forcing her to think on her feet. Today was no different. Momo deftly caught the thrown chopsticks between her fingers, but 𝐻𝐶 wasn't done. He grabbed her wrist, pressing the chopsticks toward her neck like a knife. Momo's mind froze, unable to react. 𝐻𝐶 released her, stepping back with a nod. "Good reflexes, but a bad ending. You're overthinking things," he remarked. Momo sighed, her frustration evident. "I'm trying, but my brain keeps overanalyzing every possible problem or bad outcome. I can't make decisions quickly." "I think I know what you need," 𝐻𝐶 said, his voice thoughtful. "You need to be in a true pro-hero situation, where someone's life depends on your immediate action. In those moments, there's no time for doubt or analysis. You act to save someone without hesitation." Momo gazed out of the train's window, her thoughts wandering. Like Izuku. Maybe not as reckless as him, but... Did I just hear you say that out loud? 𝐻𝐶 interrupted with a knowing grin. Momo's cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "I didn't mean to say it out loud." 𝐻𝐶 smirked. "Well, that's often how it goes with loved ones." Momo choked on her food. "Loved ones? Wait, you're making that connection." 𝐻𝐶 raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" Momo fumbled for words. "I mean, even if I did have feelings for Izuku, we've only known each other for a few months. Hero work is demanding, and I feel like I cause him too much trouble." 𝐻𝐶 leaned closer, his tone softer. "Momo, you don't have to analyze everything so much. Sometimes, feelings just happen. And trust me, in this profession, bonds can form quickly." Izuku, he's the kind of guy who cares extremely about people who are close to him. It's not about the time you've known each other, but the impact you have on each other's lives. Momo sighed, looking out of the window again. I guess you're right. But I don't want to complicate things, especially with everything USJ that's going on. Headshot nodded understandingly. I get it. Hero life can be tough. Just remember, when you're in the heat of the moment, those feelings might become your greatest strength. And it's okay to care, Momo. It's what makes you a hero. Momo sighed as she looked out of the window again, her heart in turmoil. She couldn't deny the warmth she felt when she thought of Izuku, but she wasn't sure if it was love or something else entirely. Momo couldn't help but think about Izuku and the undeniable connection they shared, one that had grown stronger with each passing day in their journey as pro-heroes. Are you sure? Headshot asked with a sly grin. It doesn't have to be hypothetical. Momo blushed deeper. No, it can't be like that. I can't allow it. Momo stood and bowed, thanking her sensei with a respectful nod. As she turned to leave, Sensei pulled out a small holographic pager, checking a notification that had just come in, and a subtle excitement filled the air. Good news, Sensei said with a grin. Our first patrol this week will be the day after tomorrow. Momo's curiosity was piqued. That's wonderful, but why specifically then, Sensei? Sensei leaned in closer, his voice lowered. You see, pro-hero endeavor can sometimes be a little rowdy after hours. I've known him for a long time, and I sometimes keep an eye on him. We'll be patrolling the same areas. Don't tell him that, by the way. So, we'll be going to 𝐻𝗂𝐻 City for patrol. Momo nodded, taking in the information. Okay then. Goodness sense. Just then, Momo's phone vibrated, drawing her attention away from whatever she was doing. She glanced down at her phone and saw that Izuku had messaged her.